Okay, welcome everyone. Hello. Oh, I gotta make sure I don't have the volume on here.
Make sure that's not on. Looks like it's
There we
going live. There it goes.
Hi everyone, happy Wednesday. Welcome. So officially, hi everyone, I'm Timothy Von Rieden, better known as Vonnart Online, and this is my boyfriend and moderator, Josh. And we do these weekly Wednesday live streams every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Time. And it's going to be different every week. Sometimes it'll be follow along, sometimes it'll be just random sketching, sometimes it'll be concept streams, and sometimes it'll be critique streams. And this one's going to be a follow along stream where we're going to be drawing some hands. And next week we're going to be doing a live critique stream. So if you are one of my Patreon backers, I'm going to be taking some of your work and then giving a live critique. So if you are a backer, I will put a link probably in Discord after this stream, and that way we have 7 days to kind of collect any images and build that up. So if you want to have one of your pieces critiqued by me on stream next week, I will be accepting applications soon. What else have we got? I mean, I feel like there's a lot to discuss, but today in the hand stream, basically we're gonna be drawing 5 hands with 15 minutes each. And I'm going to give people about 5 minutes to get ready. So 5 minutes from now, we're going to go ahead and get started. So if you want to get your pencils, get your paper, if you're working digitally, plug in your tablet. I don't know. I don't really assume anyone's working with like watercolor or oils, but you never know. And we'll be getting started soon. So if you want to put where you're watching from, we always like to see where everyone is from around the world. And we'll go ahead and get started.
And you put all the references on Discord, so if you do want to see a bigger picture of them, they're all on there.
Yes.
They will be on the screen, but
the little box under us that says reference space will have all 5 of them pop up on there. But if you want a larger version for yourself to work from, there is a Discord link below in the description, and it will be under the stream follow along channel. So if you join that Discord link and then click that channel, you'll see all 5 of them right there for you. And they're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so you know which one we're going to do in order. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot to discuss. We came back from watching a movie last night that I'll definitely want to talk about during the stream. It was Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, and it left me with a very weird feeling this morning, so I definitely want to discuss that. What else? Oh, we were at Indiana Comic-Con this past weekend. It was a great time. I love Midwest shows, specifically the Indiana ones, because they're just always very nice to be at. There's like a good vibe coming from everyone, even though everyone's wearing like Thrasher and skeleton stuff. I've always believed that was always just like a mask sometimes, and I think I've done that before too. I really connect with people that are super into horror movies or like tarot stuff or witchy things, and Indiana has a lot of that, so I've always enjoyed going to those shows specifically. Oh, look where everyone's coming from. Hello everyone.
Avenue Teal's here. It's been a while. Yeah, first time in a while I've joined a live stream.
Hello.
Good to see you again. Vigilante, aka The Ruin Wonderland, has entered the chat.
Oh, that's right. Vigilante.
Vigilante's here. Jens, hello from Denmark. Hello, Jens. Good to see you. Oh, Ejadair, hello from Netherlands with the pencil at the ready.
Same.
Tim's always got
always
the pencil in hand.
Ready to go.
Avenue Teal, I'm from Decatur, Georgia.
Decatur?
No, is it? How do you know that?
I don't know. I don't even know why.
You know Decatur?
I will say
Decatur.
it does look like a fun word to say, because I think there's a lot of Wisconsin cities that are weird to look at how they're spelled and the way that they're actually pronounced. It's way different. So I get that.
Well, thank you.
I mean, vigilante. No, I'm starting to say it. Vigilante.
Felix, oh no, I'm making dinner right now. Maybe I can participate with the later ones. Definitely. Let's see. Want to make sure you Mexico. Natalia, welcome.
Oh,
everyone. Aris is here. Hey, everyone. Isabella,
Hello.
Brazil. Elena's here. Hi, unfortunately, I've been sick for the last two and a half days. So I'll have to do some catch up on work before I can draw hands or something else.
Totally understand.
Hope you start feeling better.
I mean, this is meant to be for those who like just want to get some extra practice in. I don't want to make it feel like you're obligated to draw hands during the stream. If you just want to come and hang out and watch, totally cool too.
Karina, hello from Germany. Happy Wednesday. Excited to participate. Good to see you, Karina. Let's see. Emily, hello from Texas.
Hello, hello.
And we got Kendrick, hello from California. So happy to come into a live stream. And
Yeah,
ours,
absolutely.
Josh starting early on his rework of the English language.
Yeah, no kidding. Right?
Decatur.
Decatur. Yeah, and also I'll probably show pics of, I made it's technically a terrarium, but I kind of see it as a mossarium because I don't have any other plants in there but moss.
Where'd you put it?
It's in the other room because I got to take pictures of it for Instagram. Yeah, it was really fun to make. I think I'm getting way more into like plant life and actually trying to learn and understand how it works. So I was watching a lot of videos yesterday on moss and building. This one guy builds like giant terrariums. Usually it's for fish, but it's like reinvigorating my love. I've always wanted a lionhead goldfish. If any of you know what that looks like, it's like the fish that looks like it has a brain on its head. I love them. I think they're just so pretty and cute. And I will get one. His name's going to be Bubba. I already know it. And I want to build, I saw this really cool YouTube video where someone built what looked like an underground forest, or not underground, underwater forest. So you basically just build a mock forest in a fish tank and you fill it with water. And it was so ingenious. I'll link that in the Discord as well because it like blew my mind. But I just was watching it thinking, I can do this. I can totally make this. And I love the result because you just see this fish like swimming around what looks like trees. And I think that visual is just so conceptually interesting. So I'm definitely going to build that. I kind of want that to be a summer project depending on how things go. So we'll see. But as of right now, mossariums, very fun to build. And yeah. All right, we got like 2 more minutes. So if you guys want to, if there's any of you that are like, maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, I'm challenging you right now. Hands are always a good thing to practice. I love the character and personality that I think a good hand drawing can bring to a character. I used to be the artist that would hide it in the pocket or hide them in the pockets, behind the back. And I think my love for including hands as such a vocal point in my pieces has really elevated my work in a sense that it feels more confident. And I want you guys to experience that too, where all of a sudden your hands are becoming like a piece of the narrative and what your character is trying to say. And a lot of that just has to do with feeling comfortable drawing hands. And not only comfortable, but like confident. And now, mind you, even during these studies, I might have a hand that looks kind of off because I only have 15 minutes like you guys. And not every drawing is going to be a home run. And I think that's something we also have to let go of because I see this a lot in the art community, especially with social media. And we talk about this a lot, where the perception is every artist that works in like popular mediums like TikTok or, you know, Instagram Reels or Twitter or whatever, that they're starting or that their pieces from start to finish are just perfect. And the entire process is just like this smooth, buttery visual that everyone would want to watch. But a lot of times art is frustrating. It has a lot of speed bumps and there's a lot of overcoming your mistakes or what you are seeing as like challenges. And I think that's a narrative I want to continue pushing because doing these live streams, I'm okay now with you guys seeing that sometimes there are some speed bumps, and that's okay. I really do believe we need to see a little bit more of that. And not only seeing the mistakes, but then seeing how an artist responds to it and then tries their best to correct it or try to problem solve through it. Because to me, that's what makes a great artist is pushing through the struggles, not just always relying like in a comfort zone. So hopefully we'll have some of that today. Okay, you guys, yeah, 1 more minute. This is it. Final minute.
Lena, I would love to draw hands, but gotta grade a couple of papers before I can. I hope work's getting better for you too,
It's
Elena.
totally understandable.
Vigilante says, I can't recall the last time I've drawn anything, but this time I'm trying to draw along.
Well, I hope so.
Jen's art challenge, try and draw during a bumpy bus ride. Sketch art is what I get. Oh, Rossi's here. Hello, guys. Happy to see you.
Hello, hello.
Rossi, good to see you. I feel like it's been a bit. Hope you've been well. Felix, maybe I can make it in this time for the second one. Yeah, because we're doing 15 minutes for each one, so hopefully you can get your dinner. Make sure you enjoy your dinner. Relax.
Yeah, don't rush it.
Yeah. Oscar, can't start drawing until I come home.
Yeah.
Well, saw your volleyball.
Saw your volleyball pic. I mean, did you already play or are you about to play? If you're about to play, good luck. if you already played, I hope it was fun.
Oh, Oscar's biking right now, so on the way home.
Well, perfect. We'll see you soon. Oh, yeah. Are we ready to do this? Because then we'll answer the questions during it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess I forgot to mention, if you have any comments or questions during the live stream, I know a lot of you are already familiar with this, but please post it with either @Vonnart or @Schwab before the comment. That way we can see it and do our best to answer it, because we do these live streams to create a conversation. I really enjoy doing these now. Even though it's more of a smaller, tight-knit group, I kind of like that, to be honest. So I want to keep that kind of vibe going. But just so that Josh can see it and doesn't miss any of the questions, just
I
please
try
put
to see
that.
them all, but it does help. Yeah.
Okay, you guys ready?
All right, ready?
Okay.
Woo!
So then, Josh, really quick. So then for each of these, just click the Photoshop button first, and then you click that, and then do the timer.
Okay.
Okay. You guys ready?
Ooh, all right, everybody. This is it. This is it.
This is it.
All right.
I'm gonna put this down here.
Pencils at the ready. All right, here we go.
Then also click OBS slash so I can see where the drawing is on
yeah,
the...
I'll make sure to do that. All right.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I think I just learned something about you today. You're a 5-second countdown person.
I feel like 5 is the polite one to do. Gives people enough time to really get ready.
5 is a polite one to do.
3 is like, all right, come on.
So normally, obviously this is less about like me teaching how to draw a hand. This is more of, I'm going to kind of draw along with you guys. So when I normally draw a hand though, if this is helpful, I'm not saying you have to do this. I try to create kind of a pentagon shape first, and that kind of gives me the basis for, or kind of like landmarks to put the rest of the proportions down. Oops.
I realized there I have a base pentagon shape kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't. I mean, everyone draws hands a little differently, or a lot of people are taught how to draw hands differently, which is kind of interesting. But I've always liked doing the kind of pentagon start. And then also, I draw very loose to begin with, so this might also look a little strange if you're kind of wondering if you're new to these streams. I have a very like tight line art on a lot of my pieces, but most times I would say my drawings start very loose, especially when I'm having like a good drawing day. That my drawings start very, very loose, as I think they should.
Catch up on some comments here. Oh, Janisha. Hello, everybody. Good to see you, Janisha.
Hi, Janisha.
Chen says, I never draw hands, so always good to make. Also, hands are very important for making some of the more uncanny pieces. Yeah, you always do weird things with hands sometimes. I mean, Collector, I thought was...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I did a
10.
piece that I had over 200 arms and hands included in it, and it's funny though, I'll still do a practice like this, and sometimes it'll be like a little off, or I just need to do some visual correcting. So you'll never feel like 100% confident. I mean, I know people watch artists then like Kim Jung-ji and think, oh well, he can draw anything, but he has a style that allows for a little bit of moving around proportions or kind of stylizing it, which is amazing. I mean, I love his work. But when you're doing like pure realism studies, yeah, there will be times where you might just be like just a smidge off. And it's good to be able to recognize that it's okay that we're not perfect doing a drawing from start to finish. Also, I guess we'll just get it out of the way because we came back from the movie last night and I was just in a weird place, and then it kind of bled into this morning, and I want to explain it. So if any of you are like, what's going on? So we watched this movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it's the new film by the Daniels. I really liked Swiss Army Man. That one really touched me, and it was very strange. So I was expecting a very strange movie going to this one, and I love the message that this movie has. And mind you, I don't like spoilers, so I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys, but the journey to get there, I wasn't fully on board with. The humor, it really wasn't connecting with me. And if any of you have seen like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, watching it when I was in college, I really liked it. But then rewatching it recently, in recent years, I didn't really care for it that much. And I don't know if this is one of the first times I really felt like out of the loop with it, where I don't even think it was I was too old for it. I just didn't connect with that style of kind of crazy mishaps and like raunchy style humor all the time. And it really wasn't connecting with me. And then when I went online to like see what everyone else was saying, it felt like everyone was so on board with this movie and like loved every aspect of it. And it was the first time that I really, really felt so disconnected like from people in general. And it was hard for me. It still is, actually. This morning was really weird for me. So I like the message of it. It's kind of the idea that nothing matters, and it has this like very nihilistic kind of approach to, yes, nothing may matter, but it's the way in which you handle it, or the way that you just don't take things too seriously and like enjoy the relationships you have in this world. Like, I love that message so much, but yeah, I don't know. It was a very weird experience for me, because I don't want to say I didn't like it, but I didn't resonate with it as much as other people are, like to the extent that people are, and it makes me feel like isolated from people right now, especially after watching Coda, which I didn't really care for that much, and Titane, which won the Palme d'Or award at Cannes Film Festival last year. And there's just been a lot of movies like one after the next where they're just getting this crazy amount of praise and hype, and then I go see it and I'm like, am I just not connecting with humans anymore as much? It's a very weird, isolating feeling. Well, I mean, in some levels it's true. And I think I'm just trying to figure out why that feeling is hitting so hard this time around. Or like Turning Red, I didn't really care for either. And I know that was like, everyone was super hyping that one up too. Thankfully, there are some movies that we saw recently that were kind of hyped that I actually did enjoy. Like, I liked Encanto. I really liked The French Dispatch. So, who knows?
There have been movies that you really connected with. And on top of that, Tim watches 600 Pound Life, and I think that's like the one show I've seen him just cry, because he really connects with some of the people on that show too.
Yeah. Well, like, 600 Pound, I think why I like it so much though is because it is a documentary. It's not like a scripted thing. And it's so raw and so honest, especially the earlier seasons, that I really like genuineness. Kyle, or one of our friends, Kyle, used to say that I judge things on how authentic I feel they are, including people. So when I feel like someone's not being authentic with me, it like really bothers me, which I do think is true.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
So yeah, I guess if you guys have seen it, I won't spoil anything. I love the message. I didn't enjoy the ride as much as other people are. I'll just say it like that.
There's a lot of fighting scenes I did not care for.
It's a very action film, which I was not expecting.
Kind of Matrix X-esque, I guess.
Kind of like if Matrix, Kung Pao, and kind of Turning Red, like all had a baby together.
Yeah.
So anyways, if any of you want to discuss that or any other movies, or if any of you have ever felt that after watching a movie, I felt that definitely heavily after watching Titane and having no one talk badly about it. I'm like, how are people liking this? It's just like a really weird feeling.
Let's see. Elena, when I was 10 to 13, I didn't even bother to hide them in pockets. I just ended the arm at the wrist. Not in a nub, just no line art or color from where the art should be. But I think it's actually thanks to you that drawing hands is now one of my favorite parts of drawing a body.
Hey, oh, that's awesome. I'm telling you, it can add so much life to a character.
Drea says, I've had a hard few days too with self-image, so I get that. I'll have to go see it because I loved Swiss Army Man too.
I love Swiss Army Man.
I will say it almost didn't feel necessarily like the same directors. There was moments, but...
Really? I felt it was the same directors because, I mean, if you think about it, Swiss Army Man's taking a fart joke and then making something significant out of it.
Yeah.
It's like a little raunchy still, but I felt like they delivered it in a more poignant way. Where maybe I also am not the biggest like kung fu fan or like action oriented fan, but there was a lot of that, and I felt like it was very heavy fisted in terms of what the message they were trying to get across was. Where Swiss Army Man, I never really saw where it was going. Where with this one, you kind of saw within the first 10 minutes, like, okay, there's a disconnect between the daughter and the mom, the husband and the mom, and then the dad and the mom. And you just knew that it was going to wrap it up by the end where she learns that, like, her relationship. Well, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, no spoilers. But
I don't want to spoil anything.
Kerna says, know the feeling, love stuff that gets no recognition, and hate stuff people love. That's kind of what you're feeling right now, where it's like things that you have enjoyed, you feel don't get the same recognition of things that you don't. Maybe.
I think it's more like, because I normally don't like most films that like most people will enjoy. Like I don't really care for superhero movies. I don't really care for Disney remakes. And I know that a lot of the films I really like are the more like obscure ones, and I'm okay with that. I think for some reason this one specifically felt like it should have been in my wheelhouse, and it not only wasn't, but I felt like it was really hard for me to connect with why people liked it so much.
5-minute warning?
Oh, jeez. Oh, my gosh. Talking too much about this movie.
I think you can probably get the same message, a little bit more raw even, from that last episode of Midnight Gospel, though. Because the mom talked about the same message. And it was, to me, felt more relatable and genuine. Because it was a real human, I guess, that was telling it.
Yeah, if any of you have ever seen Midnight Gospel or haven't seen it, I wouldn't even recommend any of the episodes besides the last one, the very last one. That's the only one you really, I think, need to see. It's very touching. It's a beautiful look at a mom who is dying, talking to her son, perhaps for one of the last times, and it's very, very good.
Because you get the existential side of it, but she also comes back to what life means to her, I guess.
Actually, yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like very similar themes, but I feel like that episode did it better. Where it was still kind of silly and there were some goofy things happening visually, but I felt the emotion and I felt the connection to like why life is worth it, connecting with people that you relate with. Because I think that's the one thing I have kind of felt over the years is like relationships are, for me, my meaning of life. And like having those connections with people, they matter to me. And even though nothing really matters, like in the grand scheme of things, me and my human body, I choose that is going to matter to me. And it has been a fun ride, we'll say. So I think whenever I feel this disconnect from people, I think that's where like I start to question a lot of why I'm not connecting. And it hurts thinking about it because I want to connect with people. And I don't want to be, watching movies that like, movie snub, like, I only watch the coolest indie movies. I don't want that. Like maybe in my 20s I thought that was cool, but now that I'm in my 30s, I can still watch my obscure stuff, but I also have somewhat of a conscious, realistic view of, I can understand why most people wouldn't like these movies, and I'm not like criticizing that anymore.
Emily says, I love that the humor of the movie was very R-rated but not mean-spirited. I think that's rare. And as a martial artist, seeing Michelle Yao doing kung fu again was a huge draw. Yeah,
I saw a lot of comments about that too. There was one scene in particular that I don't know why it rubbed me so bad, but it involved the two guys that they needed to click into another dimension, so they used, we'll just say, objects, and they would have to insert them up. I don't even know how to say this
up
without.
The butt.
There we go. It just felt weirdly homophobic to me, where like that was the joke. Like the joke was men doing that was supposed to be funny because how outrageous is that?
I don't know.
It was strange.
That one I didn't.
And usually I'm good with like making humor out of anything. Like I like that idea that we should be able to, laugh at things that maybe are a little bit more close to home. But that one just felt weird to me. I was like, is this like the late 90s? Like, to me, a lot of the jokes that happened in this movie, they would say it once, and if it was funny or even if it wasn't funny, they would repeat the same joke like 5 to 7 times for every single joke. And I don't know, it was just... Yeah, I don't know.
I think it just comes back to that. I mean, because I didn't like a lot of the humor too, so I think it's just like the humor style wasn't really in either of our boats, I guess. Also, 1 minute left.
Oh my gosh. Talking way too much here.
Drea says, any more Midnight Gospel? Yeah, I mean, I didn't see all of them. I think you watched every episode.
I watched all of
them.
them.
I liked the one, though, with the song that we always used to sing, the...
Mr. Bubble.
Mr. Bubble. I like that one. That's another show that talks about existential things, and I think it honestly does it better than this movie did.
There's some episodes that I think are a little rough to get through. You saw the best one.
Yeah,
so
I mean, the last one I think was probably the most...
I think that's the only one you've seen. Oh, in the first episode.
All right, 20 seconds.
Oh my gosh, people.
Drea says, also they Family Guy'd it. Hey. Actually, yeah, that's a good way to relate to it, because it was kind of somebody's beating humor where it's like, okay, it was funny the first time, but now it's becoming a little monotonous. All right, time's up.
Woof.
All right. So go back to that.
All right, we'll do like a minute break in between each.
All right, I have the next one ready, but
Well,
no spoilers.
I think that's why this was also tough, because I really do like the message of the movie, and I liked the idea of don't take life too seriously. Like I'm all about that. I feel like that's most of my life, especially when I hang out with my friends, is we're just making jokes at each other, and they can even make very derogatory jokes at me, and I like play along, and it's this weird way of connecting and finding humor in things that are serious with one another. And I love that. I love that with my friends. Like Sean's a very sad boy, and like we talk about that and we joke about that, and then obviously being gay, I am, and I'm okay with people throwing jokes. I think it's a weird way of connecting.
Well, I think it kind of makes you more comfortable with yourself too, when other people can see the irony in yourself too, and vice versa. Because I think sometimes we can recognize our own like ironic things that we have or tendencies. So it's fun when you can make light of those, and I don't know, it makes it feel less serious sometimes.
And I think making somewhat more of a lightheartedness of it, it makes you feel more comfortable with what you might feel insecure about.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is because if your friends are accepting you for something that you're insecure about, it's this weird feeling of relief.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, even though I have this, and this that I don't feel that comfortable with, I can joke about it openly with these people, and it's in a very like loving way.
Yeah, they accept and love you still.
Yeah. Also, that was a very quick 15 minutes. I feel like I was just putting down the values, and you were like 5 minutes. I was like, oh, okay, well, here we go. So yeah, I think I might do, you know what would be kind of, okay, I might switch up the format here. If you guys are down for it, can we do possibly 20 minutes for each of the remaining hands?
Oh my God.
Are you guys okay with this? I know I'm kind of switching it off the first one.
It's more time, so why not?
But I was like reading some of the comments too, where you guys are like, oh, I just got the line art. And I was like, okay, I think maybe let's try giving a little more time for
20?
a hand.
All right.
Yeah.
I have it in.
Okay, you guys ready for hand number 2?
All right.
So this is 1.
Starting in 5, 4. Oh wait, punchers at the ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wait, you don't even have the reference thing drawn up.
Oh my God, I'm horrible. Okay.
There you go.
Ta-da! All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin.
All right, so before we start getting existential and talking about things again, when I'm drawing this hand, you can kind of see the pentagon. So this is usually the base that I'll give myself for. So usually this side, especially if the hand is facing towards the camera or the viewer, one of these sides will be the wrist area. So once you can kind of figure out the sizing of things, then this should be more of an arc. Because remember that the fingers aren't on the same axis and plane in terms of like a straight line. It's like a curved line. And then the thumb is like this weird anomaly because it's like this disjointed shape coming off of this side here. Can you guys see that? There we go. So like I said, I try to be a little more loose in the beginning. I think sometimes I get trapped into getting too sucked into it. But yeah, play with the shapes first. And then we'll come back and like really start to render it out.
J-Trek says, I never drew hands until last year when I ended up painting close to 24 hands for AP art, and now I really enjoyed painting hands.
Hey, I'm telling you, it really will help in the long run. Just getting more comfortable with hands if you want to be like a character artist or an artist that really includes the physical body and form in a lot of your work.
Ara says, I just graduated last December and then moved across the world. 100% get that feeling that I don't understand or fit in with people or this whole new world. It's all new and strange and isolating.
Where did you move from and to? I mean that's kind of a cool story. But I'd be curious to hear what that move was.
I remember that when I did the move to Albuquerque, even within the States, it still, oops, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're good.
It still felt kind of isolating because you're not,
Yeah.
I think in a way when you grow up somewhere, you almost feel like those people understand you in some way a little bit.
Wisconsiners.
Yeah, I don't know. So when you move somewhere else, you almost do feel like you can't relate to those people around you then as much.
I mean, yeah. Also realize I'm kind of drawing this at an angle. There we go.
Oh.
Looking at the screen, like I said, I'm always drawing like at an angle because of the camera being right over my drawing.
There has to be a way to do that better so that you could sit a little bit more above it.
It's called Get Good, Tim.
Oscar says, my goal today is to try to not chicken scratch. I think the reason that I do is because I'm so bad at proportions. Any tips regarding line confidence when proportions are off?
I know, actually, I feel like I'm doing some chicken scratching right now, which is not good. Try to be more loose with it. I'm going to actually try to be a little more loose with my line weighting right now. A lot of the times when I was taught life drawing and like how to draw form and proportion with people is focus on the gesture of what it is, and then you can go back and add your detail and refine it later. Because I think I'm like you in a way where I want to just capture the proportions as perfectly as I can, like right out the gate. When that doesn't happen, I feel that I become a little more chicken scratchy. So I would say try to be a little more loose with your underdrawing. Try not to pick up your pencil either as much or be very purposeful with each of your lines. Like I know some artists will literally not make a line. They'll like look at it for a while and then they'll make like one confident stroke all the way down. And they say it's because a confident stroke, even if it's not proportional, is still better than a bunch of unconfident lines. So I guess challenge yourself today on the way that you're drawing the lines and see if that helps. Because we got to remember, these studies are meant to help us improve. It's not supposed to be like a show-off time where, look how good I am at drawing hands. It's supposed to be like, okay, if there's something you want to work on, let's work on that today. And let's work on it with, this is kind of like this class in a sense, where let's work on it with a bunch of other artists and compare contrast of what we think works, what could be worked upon better. And yeah.
We're at the 15-minute mark, so hopefully those 5 minutes gave you a little bit of time to get some stuff done.
Yeah, it definitely helped me out for sure.
Avenue Teal says thoughts on, I'm probably gonna botch this first name, Taiti Kubo artist.
Let me see it.
I asked because I'm trying to draw in a style similar to him.
I actually don't know if I'm familiar with his work.
Here, I got this pulled up. Let's see. Oh, is it the Bleach artist?
Oh, okay. So I guess if you're trying to do more of like a manga anime style, I still highly recommend learning realism first. Uh, and if you listen to a lot of interviews with these manga artists, they'll talk about how they can actually do realism pretty well, but they're able to stylize it and simplify it in a way that works for a manga because they have to be drawing so many panels every single day that they have to simplify it. So I would still learn realism, and then as you're getting better with that, really try to figure out how are they able to manipulate these proportions and simplify it in a way that still reads as the human form, but in a way that is simplified. So yeah, I hope that helps. Woo. Okay, once I get kind of the structures down, something that's kind of fun for me to do then after that, I don't always do it this way, but especially that's why I took the lighting photo. So these are my hands that I took reference of this morning. I try to have it be like very one light lit so that the shadows are pretty contrasted. So at this stage, I'm going to kind of go through, outline where the shadows are, and then do a very light fill in, and that'll give a basis for my values here. All right, what were you saying? Sorry, I cut you off.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh God, what was I saying?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know if that was like a timing. I don't know.
I don't actually know what I was saying.
Oh.
I feel like the movie went really late last night.
Yeah, so we had to watch it at 10:30, and it's a kind of a 2.5 hour movie. So I mean, we were there for a while.
I have like popcorn brain still.
Mm-hmm.
Ate way too much popcorn. Drea says, I didn't take a look at these beforehand because I rushed home from work. I like this one. Andrea says, I also moved only states away and still felt weird. Making friends as an adult is hard though.
It's very difficult. I think that's why I feel so blessed with conventions, because I was able to kind of find my people through it. And I think because I have such a big family and extended family, I always had like someone I could talk to. I would say, if anything, Josh, this is more down your alley, where it was hard to meet people in your adult life because you didn't even really have a high school experience or a college experience because you dropped out after the semester.
Yeah. Well, I mean, college just wasn't for me, but I was doing a tech college, so I would have to go at night after work. So I was working 2 jobs, and then I'd go to school at night classes. I remember one time, because I was a manager at a bank at the time, so one of the tellers was off. So we had to spend like an hour later at work just trying to figure out where she was off. And then I had to rush over to school. So I was like 30 minutes late to my night class, which, by the way, is a 3-hour class I would do twice a week. So I got there late by like 30 minutes. The teacher marked me down as absent because of that. And I was like, I was literally stuck at work. I tried to get here as fast as I can. And then after that, I was like, what am I even doing this for? So I dropped out. But yeah, I think not having high school or college is weird, because then I wasn't able to build like some friendships that would go into my later life. But I think, I mean, you have a lot of friends. I have like, before I met Tim, I was very slim on friends. I probably overall had like 4 or 5. So meeting Tim was nice because Tim has a lot of friends. So, and a lot of them have become my friend now. So yeah.
What I know, even for you, it can be sometimes intimidating going into a friend group where you're like the new one.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, when I first met Tim and started getting into the group and going to cons and stuff, it was definitely really hard for me at first, because you do kind of just feel like, well, at first it was like, I don't want to just feel like I'm Tim's boyfriend at these things. You want to be seen as an individual, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which, that took some time though, because I think naturally people are initially going to see me as your boyfriend. So it took some work in terms of like getting to know them and them getting to know me on a personal level outside of, the relationship. Yeah, it's been good. I feel like everyone's in the group's been really nice to get to know, and like has been really nice towards me too.
Yeah.
One thing I have learned though is just ask people questions about themselves and it does wonders.
I feel like that's always my go-to whenever, if I'm starting to feel any way uncomfortable, like in a group, I'll just start asking people about themselves because everyone wants to talk about themselves.
Yeah,
so.
it's like, plus I'm definitely very introverted, that even in group settings, I tend to not want to talk as much. I've been getting out of my shell a little bit though.
Yeah, even better, for sure.
If you ask people questions about themselves, it kind of lets them take the floor, and then you can just enjoy the show for a second.
Enjoy the show.
Let's see. Ours says, I moved from South Africa to Germany. A big part of me is still really unhappy, but art and these streams are helping to make me hopeful while I work towards making the change in direction work for me.
Oh.
Well, that's good to hear that at least you have us here too. And I'm sure there's probably people in Germany too that you're starting to bond with. But yeah, I think, so I had something not as drastically similar, but when I moved from Wisconsin to New Mexico, I think on top of the fact that it's new people, just a geographic change also is weird. Yeah. I don't know why, because even going from South Africa to Germany, you're going from like more savannas and I don't know, more of like, I guess, browns and those colors all over you, going to like Germany, which is more lush. Because for me, Wisconsin, I'm so used to green and trees and grass. So when I moved to New Mexico, it's like
snow.
Yeah, and snow. Surprisingly, it did snow in New Mexico.
What?
Yeah, not as hard, but it did snow there.
Oh,
but then I'm going to New Mexico, which was like desert and bare and dry. Oh. That was it's a whole separate thing to deal with too. Avenue Teal says, I actually do draw in a realistic way normally. I just want to get into more manga anime style, and he's one of my favorite artists.
Oh, then it's just learning how to simplify. You know, like pulling the shapes that really matter in drawing a person and making sure that those are like the focal points of what you're creating. Because it's basically how do you make a person read well with as little lines as possible. And I do think that just will come with a lot of practice. And I'm probably not the best to learn from because I don't simplify very much at all. If anything, I try to overcomplicate pieces. So I would just look up like videos on YouTube or find some books on it and just hear how those artists simplify and try those techniques. And eventually you'll find something that just works for you.
Felix says, God, my fingers always either turn out super skeleton-y or sausagey.
Right. It's hard getting that in between. Sometimes I'll add a little background texture and value to make the highlights stand out more.
The bones on hands kind of like give me the heebie-jeebies for some reason.
Yeah.
They look so fragile.
Oh yeah, like they're so thin.
Yeah.
I mean, for real though, yeah.
Drea says show how we bonded over cookies and Tim had nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. See? There we go. It is just like little things over time that, because even like one of Tim's friends, Corinna, I absolutely love her.
Yeah, Corinna's great.
And I feel like I've been able to connect with her on a very personal level now too. So it's been kind of fun to get to know some of Tim's friends now outside of that, because we're planning on, going the long haul together. So it's good to be able to connect with his friends too on a personal level. And you've done that with my friends too. You've been able to have those moments too.
Mm-hmm. Wait, really quick for the last 5 minutes. I'm going to pull out my HB and try to get a bit darker here.
4 minutes, 50 seconds. Krina says, this is a different Krina, but still love this Krina too. Krina, I have no art friends, and it is hard to really connect with those who are not creative.
Yes. I feel like it's been weird. The more recent years, I've been able to connect more with people who aren't creative. But if you're... I don't even think this is like an age thing, but for sure when I was younger, I definitely felt the need to only connect with like other visual artists. And I think because I was looking for that connection and something that I really loved. And then just so you know, as you get older, you'll probably be able to connect with people on more than just what you love to do. And I've made some really good connections with people totally outside of artists. And obviously Josh is being the biggest one. But even with like a lot of my family members, I mean, none of them are artists, you know, like my cousins. But I love what they give me, and they bring me a lot of other things that I need in my life journey that sometimes artists don't. So just know it is difficult, but you kind of have to put yourself in positions to meet other artists. And I think sometimes a lot of that is going to conventions. I really do believe person to person is the best, but especially with the pandemic that just happened, and I think people are learning other ways of making those connections online, but really actively trying to make those connections stronger.
Okay. Oh, he just sat right there, staring right at me.
Yeah. Oh, hi, baby.
I do think conventions probably would be a huge help. If you don't do college, I think if you can go to cons,
yeah, they're super helpful for me.
You're just going to be surrounded by people that are doing art, so that helps out a lot too. Elena says, okay, yes, done with marking for the night. Get to work on drawing my new D&D character.
Josh, can you take care of Casper? I don't know what he's doing.
What is he doing?
Can you just open that window a little bit for me?
Yeah, she just...
So our beautiful black cat is being
Casper.
super needy.
He's a very needy kitty.
There you go.
He's so happy right now. Go see the window. There you go, sweetie. What a goof.
What a goof.
Oh. Vigilante says, oh gosh, I'm ruining your hands on paper. I'm sorry. I've never been good at hands.
I mean, that's why we're doing this. I genuinely want this to be more of like, not just showing off how good you are at drawing hands, but like, let's learn together. So if they're looking bad, in my mind, it's a success because you're attempting to get better at something that you openly don't think you're the best at. So like you're actively trying to change it, you know?
That's better than avoiding it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Catalina says, the thing about being the girlfriend and nothing else is something I experienced for so long. I wish I was more social. I only have like 2 friends. Yeah, it takes some work. Yeah. It definitely takes some work, but I think you do have to work on, this is what I'd accept too, is you have to put an effort on your own. If you really want that, you're going to have to put work into it. And it's kind of the same as drawing hands right now. You have to go out of your comfort zone to achieve that, I guess.
Yeah, because like maintaining relationships, you know, there's no guidebook to it, but I think a lot of it is putting in energy towards it. Because even like yesterday, like I could talk to my best friend almost every day, whether it's just texting or an actual phone call, and that's Kat. But then I have other, like, I would consider them best friends. Like Sean, I literally called before the stream started, and we'll probably have a chat more tonight. And it's putting that effort and energy in, and then you'll receive it in return.
20 seconds?
Oh, geez.
Sorry, I know we're just chatting, and I'm trying to turn off the times.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I mean, the extra 20 minutes definitely helps.
The mad shading. Just go. Go, go, go. Ah!
All right.
Casper. He's like, what's going on, guys? Casper, goodbye. All right, time's up. How long should we do between? Should I set the timer for?
Do like a minute and a half.
A minute and a half. Okay. That way we can just keep track of how long we wait between. There's that. Pencils down.
I know I'm cheating. I mean, the great part about, so when I'm doing these reference studies, usually if I can get a base from the reference, I can kind of take it in my own direction after that. So even like this, if I was doing my own art, I would probably start shading it in a way that might not be realistic in terms of like a lighting sense, but I will start shading it in a way that will add to the composition of how, where the contrasts are, where the values are. So like I might even erase some of where the values are just to give that pop of contrast, like against the skin on my arm here to the backdrop here, like this.
After this next one, we have 2 more left, so we can take a little bit of longer break between, so that way everyone can get refreshments, use the bathroom after the next one.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'll probably go to the bathroom at the next one then.
Yeah.
So like even with this finger, I don't even need to see the reference anymore, but I can erase some of the value because I like the idea of this finger also being like a lighter value. And then if I went back, I'd probably add in a slightly darker backdrop value. Now, obviously, you need to make sure that it works as a whole. I don't want to just be adding values everywhere like crazy because then it can start to read a little weird. So instead, I'll try to make it still feel like natural, just with some, liberties on the shading's behalf.
All right.
Okay.
Are we ready for the big reveal?
All right, now we're getting a little more difficult.
Genius says, Tim, you have very nice hands.
Thank you.
Tim. You have Muka hands.
Yeah, I like that I have longer fingers, so when I'm doing poses, I can just take a quick reference of myself with my hands, and I feel like they work. Because they're not masculine enough, they're not feminine enough, they're like kind of in that in-between where it could be a girl's hand, it could be a guy's hand. Not that it really matters, but when I'm drawing different characters, it's easier to adjust if necessary. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, ready. Pencils at the ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
All right, so just like the first one, I'm going to try to capture this gesture here. I feel like it's so much more obvious when I look at the screen. I could literally almost just draw it entirely, not even looking at the paper.
That's weird.
Right? Well, I think it's weird. Oh my gosh, I really could. Oh, weird.
Wait, do you find that easier right now?
Kind of.
What?
No, I mean, no, but yes.
Also, did you give yourself enough space for the fingers there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you only go like this far out.
Oh, okay. See, that's fine. My fingers would be like touching the other one.
I think the only reason I kind of see this as being easier right now is because I can actually look at it straight on, where the phone is literally like blocking it, so I'm at this weird angle. So you can see like the thumb line actually is more up. This is so weird. I feel like I'm doing digital right now because I used to work on a tablet where I'd have to look at the screen.
This is so weird.
It was never like the Cintiq.
You are drawing on a tablet right now.
This is very strange.
This is the same face you make when you use your tablet too.
All right, I think I have to switch though. Oh, it looks terrible when I look down here. Oh, strange.
That was really impressive though.
Well, like, okay, I'm gonna go back to how I normally would do it.
Elena says, oof, moving countries is always hard with new culture, people, and land. I moved from Finland to Scotland where the weather change wasn't that drastic. But my friend has moved to Finland from Brazil and that change in weather has been really bad for her.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
God, that's like a vastly different change. You're going from like near the equator to not.
To not.
Yeah. Jen says mishandled the angle, but really happy with the second hand.
Yeah, I like the second hand better than the first one. I mean, that's usually how life drawing sessions kind of go too, is usually the earlier ones are still like getting into the groove. And I did opt out of even doing warm-ups today. I don't know why. I had that weird feeling of like, you know what, we're just going to jump into it.
It reminds me, I think Jen's earlier even said, could have used a warm-up today.
Mm-hmm. But I think I liked the challenge of like, okay, we're going to go right into it. And I knew that the first hand might be a little rough. But in a weird way, it kind of gives you that little sense of confidence of, okay, I just needed a good warm-up to kind of get back into the groove. And then the second hand, I'm going to really go for it. Because in a way, the first hand we technically had less time, so in a way, it was a warm up.
Drea says, I would like just 2 friends in person. I have at least 8 online, though. Hey, that's the joy of the internet, though, is that we can connect with all over the world. But, what? Tim, what's so funny?
It was like an ad for the internet. The joy of the internet is you can connect with people all around the world. I mean, true, though.
Yes.
I do think... I'm someone that enjoys physical interaction. So like when I'm seeing my friends, I would much prefer like hanging out in person than I do online.
Physical interaction, Tim.
I guess that sounds bad.
That's
Physical
in person. You like in person.
Yeah, I like in person interaction. I don't know why I'm just not a very digital. I'm not a digitally inclined person, we'll say. I mean, technology in general, it's a miracle that I was even able to get streams going, considering how bad I am with technology. But even with like connecting with friends, I definitely like to be in person and hanging out and be able to like go dancing or do a board game together, go in a hot tub, and I don't know. I really enjoy that aspect of it. So I feel you if you're like wanting more of that in-person interaction.
Iris says, fun fact, I finished early when I was playing around with my sketches. You can make NR1 and NR2 hold hands if you place them over each other. Oh, the references?
Right. Oh.
I remember 1 and 2. Oh, actually, yeah. Tim, look at that. You can hold your own hand.
Beautiful. It is actually kind of funny.
Jen says, Vonnart, time, 25 more minutes.
Yeah.
Keep adding more to it.
Right, can we just, next one we're going to do an hour, and final we're going to do just 1 day. See what you can accomplish in 1 day.
Oh my god, if you had to spend 1 day on just one of these hands, you probably could make it.
It'd be an interesting experiment.
That would be, like, how...
Not
how
that I,
much
like, am
detail-
wanting to, but it would be an interesting experiment.
How much detail could you do that?
I feel like I would definitely go more of like a style route where if I had an entire day to draw one hand, I think I would try to draw like a bunch of little hands that consist of one big hand or something.
Oh.
Like really try to challenge the subject itself.
Yeah, because I don't know how much you could really add to it once you have it done. Oscar says, for the reason of practice, do you think you should focus more on getting it as similar to the reference as possible or alter it in whatever way you feel is most natural?
Ooh, I mean, I definitely, like in realism studies like this, I think it's good to try to stick pretty close to the reference. But when I'm doing my own hands, I definitely want to make it the best for the composition. Ooh, I feel like this is too thick. I'm also very non-committal to studies. So when I see something I don't like, just erase it. So yeah. Wait, what was the first part of that question?
For reason of practice. For reason of practice, do you think you should focus more on getting a similar?
Yes. Sorry. I was like blanking as I was like trying to erase this. Yes, I do think doing more of like a purely almost realism focused study should be as close as you can get it, because then there will be things that you learn about lighting and anatomy and values that then you can pull into your original work when you want to either like stylize it or make it your own.
Avenue Teal says, oh, Spider-Man hand.
Yeah, kind of, actually.
Drea says, ew, foreshortening, my arch nemesis. Oh, is that where the hands are curved in? What's
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so usually it refers to like something coming towards the camera.
Yeah, I don't know how to draw that. Elena says, I don't like using my hands as reference because I have really thick fingers that are pretty short in relation to my giant palm. Oh. No, that reminds me of one of my friends, she has really short fingers too, but they're cute.
Autumn.
Yeah, Autumn's fingers are, they're so cute though. Anna Rose says, any advice for someone who's still working on fundamentals and getting frustrated with their work?
Man, it's one of those like patience is a virtue type aspects, but something that one of my old roommates, her name was Ashley Cloverkin on Instagram, was if you're feeling frustrated in your like drawing or trying to get better, find something that you feel is in your comfort zone and like make a list of things that you genuinely enjoy drawing. And then whenever you're feeling frustrated, draw one of those things. Draw one of the things that like give you joy, that you know you're pretty good at and that you feel a comfort in. Because even if it's not the best drawing ever, and if it's mostly just used as like a warm-up or just I need to feel better about my drawing skills day, that usually will pick me out. Where especially if I just finished like a really big piece that like took a lot of time and effort and like it was mentally kind of draining, yeah, the next drawing I might do something that is a little more up my wheelhouse just so I can kind of regain that battery charge moving into the next one.
Yeah, I feel like that reminds me too. That's what the piano thing I was doing, which I need to get back on. I think taxes and everything, the convention, all kind of blew me out of that. But that was the same thing they did too, whereas no matter how much time you set aside every day to practice, you should make the last like 5 to 10 minutes be playing songs you already know. Because it does make you feel good, where it's like, at least there's things I know I can do while I'm learning all these other things. Felix says, God, I need like at least 14 minutes for the outlining, and then I have 1 minute for values.
So this, I guess, would be a good challenge for you, Felix, of how can I make my outlining process more efficient? You know, like for me, I'm kind of like you too. I definitely spend a lot of time on the outline because then I feel way more confident going in with shading. Because I definitely feel like it's weird. I think most people consider like my line art a strong suit, but I personally consider my shading my strongest suit. So whenever I get to the point where I can start shading, I feel very comfortable. I can literally watch Netflix series all day, and it's like an autopilot mode that I'm just able to switch on. But when I'm doing line art, I feel like I'm definitely more mentally conscious of my lines, my weights.
9.5 minutes left.
So yeah, I think the way that I'll challenge myself is what can I try to get better on today if there's something that's bothering me with my own work, and then really try to tackle it in a few different approaches, because there's a good chance that the approach that you're currently taking isn't helping the problem.
Hi, Casper. Janisha says, Tim, if you did one hand for one day, it would look like Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet on steroids.
Man, I do love drawing hands.
Jen says, I think I'd rather draw quantity over quality if I had a whole day.
I mean, there was that whole, what was that book that I read? Where it was talking about you'll probably actually get better quality if you focus on quantity. It was the book Influence, I believe it was, that had this chapter on that. Gosh, it bothers me that the space between these two fingers I made too big. That's like all I can see, but I know I only have 8 minutes. And I'm like,
between the thumb and the index? Or
no, the pinky and the ring finger.
Oh, yeah, I see that. It's not that bad, though.
I mean, I do want to fix it, but I feel like it's close enough where I need to really focus on valuing out some other things, because it definitely needs some help still.
I mean, it's a natural distance still, so it doesn't look like uncanny, but for the drawing, no, I know you like it to be as close to possible.
Mm-hmm.
Catalina asks, what's the longest you've worked on a drawing?
So as of right now, technically 80 hours with the collector.
That was the hand one.
Mm-hmm. As far as any one of the ones that I've timed myself doing. But I believe that has to be the longest. But also, I'm working on a 5-foot drawing upstairs that is like this underwater mermaid utopia. And that one I'm currently sitting at 60. And I know that one will at least be 1,000, possibly like 2,000. Oh, so we'll see. That one's been like hard to stay motivated working on just because it's so big. And I think I've been so conditioned over the years with social media of that instant gratification feeling that like some days it's a real drag to like walk up the stairs and be like, okay, I just need to put 1 hour into this drawing. Like, come on, you can do it.
I just posted a link to the collector just so if anyone wants to see it. Yeah, this one's so good.
Yeah, I would say currently the collector, and then followed by Woodland Youth 3. I believe that took me like 55 hours. I mean, not that time really should matter on a piece's completion. Because like there are some drawings that I see that have taken people like just a few hours, but I think they're gorgeous. And I think like the composition and the way that they handled it was just so well done. So I don't always see like time as being a factor of how much I like it. I think I can appreciate an artist and their patience when it comes to how much time they've dedicated, but that doesn't always mean the outcome is going to be amazing.
I think I just love looking at collector because there's a lot going on, but it feels like it matches up where it's supposed to, I guess.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. Drea says, probably this time last year, we drew Schwa's hands. His fingers just kept going. Mr. Piano Hands.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you remember really that? Bad. I literally have to physically have Tim move my hand into the position he wants, though. I can't. Everyone's like, oh, Josh, you should be a hand model. And I'm like, no. I couldn't do it. Everything about me is stiff, I feel like, when it comes to my body movements. Because even, like, I don't know, I just can't. I'm stiff.
Yeah, I would say you're a very pretty boy, but I think when it comes to like modeling, I don't think you quite understand your body enough to like position it.
I also think I look like a dog that's growing into its body still sometimes. Because like my arms are really tiny, but then my hands are really big.
I have no idea what that means.
Like, you know, dogs, because their paws are huge. Like when they're a puppy still, they have really big paws, but their body's tiny still. That's how I feel. Like, my hands, I feel, are bigger than...
I don't think I've ever heard that comparison ever in my life.
That I feel like a puppy?
A puppy? Say that again. A puppy who still is growing into their body, was it?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, I guess it makes sense when I'm thinking about
they're growing up still. So they got these giant paws, but then little legs.
I mean, not wrong.
Not wrong at all. Ruby says, I step away and come back the next day or in a few hours when I'm stuck or frustrated so I don't ruin my piece. It always works for me.
Yeah, I do think taking a nice healthy break, like going for a walk or something. I mean, I even have my timer that I usually set when I'm drawing. So like at least once an hour, I make the effort to like get up and do something, whether it's go to the bathroom, get some more water, whatever it might be. I try to at least do something.
Let's see. Avenue Teal says, I remember... Oh, wait, hang on. 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Okay.
I remember a video uploaded by Kesh where he talked about a story where a pottery teacher had half his class make 10 pots while the others had to make one.
This is it.
The half that made multiple got better.
Yeah, so the story is the side of the class that focused on the quality of one ended up having a worse looking pot than the team that had the quantity assignment of to make 10, because I thought it was more than 10 though, but maybe it was just 10. Because as they were going along and they were continuing to make ones, they would learn from each one and then apply that knowledge that they gained and learned and then apply it to the next pot.
And they had the same time?
Yes, it was. So it was one semester, I believe. It was a long time. So imagine the teacher saying like, you're going to get graded based on, so the team that was quality, you're going to get graded on the quality of one piece. And then the other side, all they had to do was make 10. And they had to spend their whole time though making the 10. So they couldn't just submit like nothing. And it turned out that like the latter half of the quantity group was ending up making better quality pieces than the quality team that only had to make one. So like the lesson there was you can definitely get better quality by focusing on quantity.
Because they just got so used to doing it. Well, I'm sure their first 4 or 5 were still rough. And it started like there's a point. Actually, that'd be interesting to know what point did it switch for them? Like which pot number tended to start looking better?
Yeah, right.
Like how many attempts? Yeah.
Actually, that would be kind of curious to find out.
Drea, oh honey, you're lanky, but it's a good form. Used a lot in Pixar. Well, thank you, Drea. Yeah, I always felt like my limbs were a little bit longer than they are supposed to be, but I mean, Tim's with me, so at least that's a good sign. All right, you got 1 minute 30 seconds left.
Oh no, I actually like this hand.
This one doesn't seem to be super popular. I think it is those fingers, though.
I think they're only going to get harder, so just be aware, people.
Catalina, the puppy analogy is so strange, but actually makes a lot of sense. See?
I know, that's why, like, first time hearing, I was like, what the hell are you saying? But then after thinking about it, I'm like, well, actually, okay.
Jen says, not nearly as good as the second hand, but I blame Tim's fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are those fingers doing, Tim?
Spider-Maning, obviously.
All right. I'm going to hold off in comments for now just because the time's about up. Should everyone get those last minute biddings in on it? The sound of the pencil's really soothing too.
A little ASMR.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if I just think a good sleep because I drink so much fruit punch right before bed. I just feel...
I mean, probably, actually.
And like that pencil's kind of luring me to sleep right now.
Well, you gotta make it through 2 more hands.
You're the Pied Piper, but with a pencil.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Time is up.
Time up.
We can take, how about like 5 minutes this time?
All right, 5 minutes, and then we'll get back to it. Are you going to go to the bathroom?
I'm going to use the bathroom, yeah.
I'll go after you then.
All right. There we go. I'll be right back.
Beautiful.
And then we have 2 more to go.
I'm going to cheat and draw through this. Yeah, so drawing hands is just fun for me at this point. And I want all of you to experience that when you have to draw a hand, it's like exciting. Little shadows next to these veins. I feel like I could have definitely darkened this shadow quite a bit more. Yeah, for some reason also switching from a 2H to an HB, I feel like I'm a little more hesitant on doing like bolder moves with my pencil. Just because I know sometimes an HB even can be a little harder to erase. So I try to be a little bit more conservative with how I use it. So you can definitely see the difference between the first, and I'm like getting more comfortable again. And I really like my shadows to have this buttery effect where it's like working mostly in midtones. Let's see here. Oh, good, Drea. I thought this was going to be a hard one, but I'm on track. Krina, this hand works better for me somehow. Sometimes, I mean, you guys might be surprised. Sometimes foreshortening can actually be easier. Not always, as we saw with some of you in the chat. Sometimes it can be more difficult, more challenging. Take care, Aris. Don't make too many inside jokes while I'm gone. No promises there. All right, let me go to the bathroom really quick.
All right.
Then we'll go ahead and start number 4.
Did you read through most of the comments?
Most of them, yeah.
Okay. I guess I can just talk about my linkiness. Yeah, look at these proportions. Ready, everybody? Oh, the camera makes it actually kind of weird. Ooh, lanky. Felix, this one wasn't so bad, but I still had like no time for values. I guess we have to do 25 minutes. Give you the extra 5. Actually, really quick spoilers while Tim's in the bathroom. Just our little secret. What's the sneak peek? Oh gosh. Good luck, you guys, with this one. Your hands make you look like you'd be a great puppeteer. What if Tim's my puppet? Ooh, the last one Tim has too looks interesting. Yeah, Felix said this one wasn't so bad, but I still have no time for values. And then Andrea says
on the line.
Yeah. And Andrea says my values look really blocky, to be honest. Nice, sweetie.
Yeah, because I think something I'm going to challenge myself with the remaining two is try to focus a little more on the initial gesture of the hand. I felt like I was being a little too chicken scratchy with it in the beginning phase. So try to like actively, constructively critique your either process or your execution, and then try to adapt while doing these studies, because that's like the point of them. Also, this is Casper.
He's such a baby.
He likes to be held like a baby.
Oh.
Hey. He also climbed a tree like 13, 14 feet yesterday.
That was scary.
Because Astrid like scared him for a second, so he like bolted straight up a tree, and then he didn't know what to do. So then he kind of took like this really weird jump crawl down that looked kind of painful. So, I mean, he doesn't seem to be showing any signs of pain today.
Yeah, he seems fine. Do you want me to hold him while you draw? We'll see if he lets me hold him.
No.
No, can I hold him for 1 second?
Okay,
Please,
you can hold
I
the
need to
baby.
hold a baby.
There we go.
Casper, the timer's going off, sweetie.
See, I don't think he likes... No. Nope.
Okay,
Nope,
well,
nope,
now
nope.
he's panicking because the timer's making him nervous. Casper, it's okay. It's just a timer. Okay, there we go.
Okay, you guys ready for the next one? So we are doing hand number 4.
All right, Casper, I'm sorry.
All right, let's let him go.
Okay, there it goes. All right, getting 20 minutes on the clock. Getting the drawing up, a reference up. Oh, Tim, yes, this one.
Yeah, because I wanted to include one that was more from the side, because I feel like it is a little easier drawing hands from the front or back. So then when you start to change the perspective of them, it becomes a little more difficult because you can't see the pentagon as easy either.
All right,
I'm ready.
here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Beautiful. Probably like right there. Okay, so when drawing it from the side, I'll instead try to capture the side of the hand and then the thumb, if it's the thumb facing the viewer more. So to kind of create that shape first, and then create the wrist going down into the arm. Oh, you guys can't even see it. There we go. So something else that I used to do too, especially more in college, was shadow blocking, where you don't even draw the forms as much as you just go straight into trying to draw light and shadow, which can be kind of a fun challenge. I think I might do a little of that while I'm working on this one as well.
Casper's foot just sticking out and chilling.
Mm-hmm.
He does it a lot. Especially when he lays in the cat tower, he'll just lay one arm or leg out.
He's very strange.
Catalina says, I wish to see the baby meme right there. I know. He's weird. He's friendly with me, but he doesn't like me holding him like Tim does for some reason.
Because I'm the mom.
The mom. Well, I got Astrid at least, so I'll take that. Astrid doesn't like being held, though. But she is really good at snuggling.
Yeah.
Astrid's a better snuggler than Casper is, I think.
Yeah, but it's on Astrid's time, though.
Exactly, yeah. Because even yesterday morning, it was kind of nice. You can like spoon Astrid, so I'll literally lay on my side and she'll sprawl out, like right against my body on her side. So it's just like really cute. Janisha, Casper is so cute. He's a cutie. Drea says, I honestly got used to side hands first. As a character artist, this is what you see when people's hands are just hanging at their side.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's a good point. That looks terrible. If you can kind of clock something pretty early on in your drawing, just erase it right away.
It's weird seeing the shape you have to do for this one at the base.
Yeah, right.
It almost looks like a bean or a potato.
A bean or a potato?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All caught up on comments.
So when doing the hands, I try to think of them in cylinder, or the fingers, I try to think of them a little more in like cylinders, and then try to express them that way. So as I'm going up, you can always think of it in threes, because we have 3 knuckle points for each finger. I feel like I'm getting it's like ventriloquist hands, or the dummy itself.
Drea, if you're not supposed to be erasing, I broke the rules many times.
Oh no, you can definitely erase.
Actually, I think the last one, Tim erased like half of it at one point.
Mm-hmm. I think if you genuinely can see that something is not working, I personally don't think you should continue working with it, especially if it's like bothering you. Like, I know these are supposed to be more studies, but I think like if you're able to see something that you would consider a flaw, I don't personally see the point in keeping it in there. I know, especially with like time constrictions, we're supposed to be, just moving, but that could just be a personal preference of mine.
How much time do you get at life drawings usually? Per
Yeah,
pose?
it varies.
Okay. Do you erase during those times too?
Surprisingly not as much. I feel like because I'm doing this live and I'm like drawing at this slightly weird angle, I feel like it's this extra challenge. But when I'm doing life drawing, I usually find more of a flow because I can usually wear headphones and be like in a zone where, sometimes communicating and drawing sometimes is a little more difficult for me.
Hey, you need to try to go to more of those again soon.
I know. Well, I'm just glad that they're finally opening up again.
Because I know you were liking that one a lot in Milwaukee that you went to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Tyler.
Yeah.
Actually, I should even see if there's one happening tomorrow night. I'm sure he'd be down. Well, no. We'll see. Maybe next week.
Yeah.
This week's like a recovery week. Especially I'm still recovering from the Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh. Well, yeah, we just got back from a convention too, which went well. It was good to see everyone. But then our next convention, we have a 30-foot booth, which is the first time ever, right? You've never had a 30-foot booth.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had one.
So we've been trying to plot that out a little bit. Tim kind of drew up the booth, what he's thinking. I have to start getting on printing because we have technically 3 cons in a row happening coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like making sure we have enough prints. And because Tim has to hand gold each one, it just adds a little extra layer to printing even.
Yeah, it can be a lot.
Yeah. It could be everything all at once sometimes.
Oh, God. Well, and I do think I like that message too of sometimes we do feel like everything's happening all at once and it can be very stressful. And like the idea of, just don't like breathe, don't take things too seriously. I do like that message.
Felix says hands are so wrinkly, but once you start drawing the wrinkles, they look like zombie hands.
I think when you're drawing the wrinkles, try not to make them too pronounced. I would say be more subtle with them. And you can build them up slowly, but yeah, if you go like for a dark, hard line right out the gate, you can really start to make, kind of like what you're saying, hands look more zombie-like pretty quickly.
Drea, that's bigger than Dragon Con? Yeah, Dragon Con we had a 20-foot booth, so imagine adding another 10 feet to that what we had. So it's a little intimidating, but...
Kind of a unintentional accident because this booth was rolled over from 2019, or I ordered in 2019 for the 2020 show, but obviously with COVID and everything, they were all canceled. And then last year it was also rolled over again. But my idea back in 2019 was I was going to have a Drawtober booth, a Vonnart booth, and then a swordplay booth. And I was very ambitious. But now that I'm like really just trying to stick with Vonnart and kind of just focus on the tarot deck and the card deck until they finish, and then I can start focusing on my swordplay again. It makes no sense to have a swordplay booth right now. So yeah, I was wishful thinking, we'll say. But now we have a 30-foot booth that's all Vonnart. So we got to make something happen. I'm ordering a bunch of poles. I'm ordering a new backdrop banner. A bunch of new canvases. We're going to try metal prints for the first time.
We'll see what we can do. It's definitely going to be...
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
Yes, yeah. I think the printing is what I really have to start getting on. Probably tomorrow I'll start doing counts, see where we're at, and then I'm going to start printing away.
Because I think a lot of people don't know, it's really just Josh and I. Like, that's a team of two. So when we do con prep or we do sales or Kickstarter fulfillments, it's mostly just Josh and I. Thankfully, with like the bigger Kickstarters, I've had just friends even like offer help because they can just physically see the stress.
Yeah.
And that's been really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because it's doing, well, taxes this year were, I don't know if anyone's doing business taxes, but taxes are definitely changing now. They're making it a little bit trickier with all the forms you need now. Like anything you make income on now, you have to report that form, make sure they're all compiled. It was weird this year. I don't know. But it'll be crazy doing a 30-foot booth. I'm actually kind of excited. I think once we have it planned out and we're comfortable with the setup, I think it'll actually be a fun booth to run.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. It's more space, bigger real estate, so more people hopefully come up to the booth.
When I feel like I came out of Indiana with more motivation, and I think that's like another benefit of just having good friends. I think just seeing everyone and talking with them and having this sense of like we're doing this together, it was just very encouraging. So then as soon as I came back, I mean, literally the next day after the con, I was ordering poles, I was ordering lights, and I'm just like really going for it.
You're definitely more. I'm definitely after the con, I just need a day or two.
Which is fair.
Just to catch up, relax for a moment, and then I'm ready to go again. Like, I think tomorrow I'm planning on kind of going back to town and really prepping for the con right now.
Mm-hmm.
Cleaning up from Indiana, too. Because sometimes after the con, too, I'm sure if any of you have done conventions, sometimes you'll throw things back and everything you have, but it's not as organized as you came to the con. So usually afterwards, too, I'll go through and just reorganize the bags a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get them tidied up a little bit for the next one. Because, like, the light bag right now, I had them all, like, the cables nicely rubber banded. Right now, they're just one big pile. So I'm going to re-rubber band everything, get it all cleaned up.
I can imagine. Okay, I'm going to switch to my HB pencil.
All right, we're at 9 minutes.
Actually, this is great.
These 20 minutes, I feel like, are going really fast, though.
I'm telling you, life drawing, like, even when you're given the hour, it can feel like it's flying.
Yeah.
I think because a lot of the times as artists, we meander in our work, and we can waste a lot of time just noodling, as we call it. So then when there's an actual time limit and you can feel that countdown without actually like seeing it, you just feel it, you tend to move faster, but in doing so, time just flies.
Jen says, in quotes, life is not just one thing after another. The damn thing overlaps.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely how it can feel sometimes.
Sometimes in like this crazy awesome way, where like coming back from Indiana, immediately I felt that pressure of ASEN, but rather than it being this like overwhelming sense of pressure, it was encouraging, and I was like excited.
I think that it was just fun hanging out with everyone too. I think that those were some of the more fun nights I've had at a con in a while too.
Yeah?
Yeah, because we had a bigger group. It was just a good time.
Yeah, it was Key's birthday.
Yeah, Key's
or
birthday.
Gawky on Instagram.
Adria's slowly getting subliminal messaging to watch this movie.
I mean, I do think it's a movie that everyone should see at some point, because at least it's inventive and original in a lot of ways. But yeah, I wanted to connect with it more than I did.
I think for me with the movie, because we've done psychedelics, specifically I think acid, which kind of gave you that existential. A lot of the feelings in this movie I already have like gone through and experienced. Personally, I think the movie may be good for people maybe that don't think about those things often, so it might give them kind of this door opening effect to it. But I feel like I've already resonated with a lot of it, and it chewed on it for myself personally, that I didn't really leave the movie with anything new, I guess, if that makes sense.
I guess a little like, I don't necessarily need a movie to have like a completely original idea for me to connect with it.
Yeah.
But I do feel that the way it was handled is very heavy-handed, and very much like, this is how you're supposed to feel now. This is when you're supposed to feel sad. This is when we're like watching the Midnight Gospel episode 8, the finale. They let you kind of experience what the mom and the son are talking about without it feeling manipulative. Not that this movie was manipulative, but it was very much like trying to hit certain points and trying to hit specific, okay, this is when you feel sad. And I think when dealing with a lot of existential themes and content, I think letting people explore what they're digesting kind of at their pace, or maybe that's a bad way to word it though, in a way that just shows it doesn't feel like it's just tied with a pretty ribbon at the end, where a lot of the resolutions at the end just felt like it was just tied with a pretty bow. But like, you guys know that this is a multiverse universe, so one of the things that they talk about is apparently this is like the worst version of herself in this film. And you guys can obviously guess, family is important, and like her daughter's important to her. But I would have loved to see a universe or like a multiverse where she was actually doing better without the daughter, and then be conflicted about, I love my daughter, but I'm also seeing myself not having married this man and not having the daughter and having this life that isn't really fulfilling me. And what if I did, see my dream, or see myself attempt to follow those dreams and actually be super happy? I would have loved that conflict, and then that resolution at the end where she still chooses to be in the universe or the multiverse with her daughter, because having this bond and relationship that they've established over however many years of the daughter's life was more important to her than her own like success. And I think that would have been more poignant, where it made it seem like in every universe or every multiverse, there was always this family unit, and like it was always so good, and that's what really mattered. I'm like, I would have loved to see contradictions. I would have loved to see the opposite and how the characters react to that.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of an interesting point, especially for motherhood, because I've definitely heard and talked to mothers too that there's moments they actually
they regret it,
hate their kid in a way too, especially postpartum. They say that's a really rough time, because sometimes you can almost like despise your kid at times, and it's an ugly feeling to have. And that's why a lot of mothers go through depression and stuff too, because they're experiencing these feelings that they think they shouldn't have, but they're experiencing them.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been interesting too, like, of talking about that, of being a mother, and that line of like the duty you have and the responsibility versus the like emotional feeling side of how you feel about your kid all the time.
Yeah.
And kind of go through that a little bit.
I just watched this Olivia Colman movie a couple months ago that it talks about, she was a mother who abandoned her kids when they were like 6 and 8 or something, and she was having a really hard time being a mother. And the movie explores, and it's a really interesting ending that I don't think a lot of people will like, but she kind of admits, like, I don't regret leaving, and I was happier with my decision to leave. And it's a very polarizing decision for sure, but it felt just honest, where sometimes when I watch films that feel just very heavy-handed or like spoon-feeding, you know, how you're supposed to be feeling, I kind of like being challenged in that way of, okay, well, what is the other side? Like, what's the honest feeling that this person's feeling? And in the mom's case, she was clearly feeling really stressed and really, you know, down on life. It was like still trying to make it through. So I think they showed her like a universe where she was a movie star, and she was like, oh, that's really glamorous and blah, blah. But then the end of that multiverse was, oh, I still wish I would have just went with that boy, and even if I was working at a laundromat with a daughter that I don't connect with that much, that would have been better. I'm like, well, what if it wouldn't be, you know? So I don't know. Maybe I just need to sit with this movie a little longer, I think.
Yeah. Elena says, I just spent 5 days in Spain living with 4 family members, and it was a bit exhausting. So being sick forced me to have 2 days to do nothing, which also let me socially recharge. Totally feel that. I think that's what I need. You don't really have that much of recharge time, though. Mm-mm. You're pretty quick. But Oscar says, I'm sorry for butchering your hand. This is one of the worst yet. God damn it. I need a better approach. Also, we were down to minute 30. Jens, one of the actors, played the kid in the Indiana Jones movie, I think.
Not only that, but he also played the boy in The Goonies. Say he was the little kid.
The dad was?
No, yeah.
Oh, weird.
He was the little boy in Indiana Jones and The Goonies.
Oh my god.
I think that's why I like some of the outside of the movie talks, because he gave this interview where he was talking about how Hollywood just would not see him as like the sleek Hollywood actor, so it was hard for him to find roles. So like at a point in this movie, he plays like a Hollywood actor or something, and he like slicks his hair back, and apparently that was really empowering for him just to feel that feeling and be in a movie where he's actually playing like a sleek, like debonair, James Bondy kind of character.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was really touching. And another example of like, I'm really attracted to when things feel authentic or honest, and I think that's why I love 600 Pound Life. Because I feel like a lot of times the people on those shows, they're just being completely raw and honest with who they are, and I feel like it's so touching because it's allowing me to form this connection or understanding with them without actually having to meet them, which I think is cool.
All right, 3, 2, 1, and we are there.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Do a minute 30 in between. Let everyone relax for just a moment.
Yeah, hopefully you guys were okay with the side one.
Elena, one of the reasons I will not watch that movie then, because that topic of postpartum depression hits a little too close to home right now. They don't actually talk about it in this movie.
They don't.
That was just me saying, I think, because Tim was mentioning that.
Hold on, I'm going to look up the Olivia Colman movie really quick. Oops.
Oh, if you're talking about the Olivia Colman one, then yeah, that one's not the best then. If that's something.
The Lost Daughter.
Yeah, Lost Daughter. That was it. I remember watching in the background, and I thought that was.
Yeah, you did not like that one. Or from what you saw. Well, I think it's because it discusses such a taboo subject matter. Like, to me, it felt like brave in a way, where even if you like hate the decision of the mom, I think it's something at least worth discussing. And if you're feeling that way, sometimes it's nice just to be able to like relate or like connect with someone who is also feeling this way.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think you should do this decision she did in the movie, but I think it at least gave some level of like someone understands how this feels like. And I've never gone through postpartum, I never will, but I felt what that movie was trying to express. So I'm eating a clementine.
right. Let me get the 20 on the clock.
Hi. Final one, everyone. This is it.
Final one. Here's the big reveal.
So the last one, I wanted it to be a hand holding something. So obviously, what would be better than a pencil? Another side view. So it's similar to our last one, but now we're throwing in an extra element of a prop. So hopefully we can do this. Hey, you guys ready?
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Okay, remember, this is it, guys.
Good luck, everybody.
I'm gonna try to be it. I always say I'm going to be more gestural, and then I never am.
Jen's breaks Tim's fingers. Actually, that last one Felix said, is it just me or does the camera angle make the thumb look huge? It definitely in that last one, the thumb looked bigger, but it's probably because it was...
Actually, even with my drawing, the thumb looks a little big.
I think that's kind of what it looked like, though.
I think because it was closer
angled
to the camera.
Yeah.
So that's what we called when we were like learning 3D modeling. It's the difference between perspective and, oh my gosh, it starts with an O, I think. Oh my god.
Objective. What? I'm just trying to help. Okay. Perspective.
Orthographic. Orthographic.
That's not catchy.
Wait, hold on. Actually, let me focus on this hand before I get into that.
Vigilante says, to be honest, the results are so far better than I thought I'd be able to draw, but I'm still not happy with them. Hey, at least you're doing it.
I mean, better than you thought.
You're happy
That's
with
good.
them, yeah. Or partially happy with them, from what you said.
Happier than you were expecting.
Krina says, works great for me, sketching the outline and then put in the shadows before rendering the outline. Thanks, already got something out of this. Oh.
Good. Well, and like I said, like the way that I might draw hands might be not for you. So like explore other ways of creating hands.
Janisha, optical illusion? Actually, yeah, perspective and optical illusion sounds more catchy.
Optical illusion.
Elena says, I mean, I teach literature and have a degree in it. I agree that hard topics should be discussed in art and elsewhere. Just also know sometimes you need a while before seeing art of them.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, for sure. I think like if you're going through super depression to the point where you're thinking of committing suicide, I don't think maybe watching a bunch of suicidal movies might be the best.
I mean, Tim, there's a movie Tim likes that I could never watch again.
Climax.
Climax.
Absolutely love Climax.
I
Would
hate
recommend
that
it to
movie.
very few people, though. It's the scariest film I've ever seen.
I hate the word trigger, but it's one of those movies that like does actually kind of trigger me. Like, I don't want to see this. More just because it makes me so uncomfortable.
So I guess for those of you who do not know about Climax, I feel like I've talked about it on previous streams because I just like it so much. But essentially it's a group of dancers in France that get stuck in a dance hall. Or not even stuck, but they're rehearsing. And then, I'm kind of off camera.
Oh, sorry.
And at one point through the night, the group of dancers, someone spikes the punch with acid, and it becomes a nightmare-fueled kind of fantasy. But what's crazy is they filmed it in a way where you can't see what they're seeing. You just see them reacting to what they think they're seeing. And that alone is terrifying.
It's so bad. I hate that movie. The sounds. Because they don't even... The beginning is like this cool orchestrated scene. The music's really nice. But then after the acid part happens, there's music in the background because they left the music on. But for the most part, it's just like screaming, lights going out. It's a pure nightmare. I hate that movie. I never want to watch it again. It was like 8 out of 10 to me, but I still hate that movie.
It's one of the, well, the format of the movie is a little strange. The director is Gaspar. I don't even know how to say his last name. I think it's Noe or Noe. It's like Noe. I believe he's French. So how, if any of you are French watch or know French, how would you say Noe? Noe? No.
No.
But his other films, Enter the Void, and I haven't seen his new one that just came out. But they.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh,
here's another one that's
God.
coming out. But they usually deal with like exploration of the mind and what that means. And Climax is filmed in a very strange style where like the first third of the movie or first fourth of the movie, it's like videotape interviews of each of the dancers, and then the next, I would say the 2/3 or 2/4 is you see them dancing, them choreographing, and then them kind of talking to each other, and it's like real weird talk. And then the second half of the movie takes this horrible dark spin, and you know it's starting when you see the close up on the punch bowl and someone like going to grab a bit of the punch, because that's when everyone starts tripping.
Ugh.
And having done acid before, being in a safe environment, it was one of the best experiences of my life. Also most terrifying experiences of my life that I'm glad I did it, but I don't think I'll ever do it again. But being in an environment where, one, I didn't consent to being on acid, two, being in a like weird environment that I'm not aware of, and then three, having a lot of the chaos that was happening in this movie, like the lights getting turned off at one point, the weird soundtrack becoming more distorted as the DJ was just like getting weirder with his music choices. And then the interactions between the people, it was just becoming, it's literally like hell. It's terrifying. And I normally don't like a lot of horror movies. I mean, Josh knows that every October we try to watch like a bunch. And some of them are fun, like watching Friday the 13th last year, like the Halloween movies. Yeah, they're more like slasher. They don't take themselves, I don't think, too seriously. This is one of those movies that I think is genuinely terrifying because I could see why not only all of this could happen, it feels very believable in like the worst sense. So yeah, I loved it. Don't recommend it though.
Avenue Teal says, if I can make this a little more lighthearted, I just came back from getting my mail, slipped on some dry brush thanks to my sandals having no traction. They came out with some light scratches. Oh no. Today's?
I don't know what they're doing right now.
Totally relate to tripping over yourself. Actually, this Halloween though, Tim wants to watch. I don't know if you guys ever played the game Amnesia. Tim wants to watch me play Amnesia: The Dark Descent, because you would listen to that review I was listening to.
Yeah, the review seemed pretty interesting.
I liked the game. The story was good. Gameplay is definitely a little outdated now, but it's still good.
I know it's sad when you play a game that you loved from like years back and you're like, oh.
Well, it's because people took the Amnesia formula then and made it
like improved upon it.
Yeah. So it's definitely because a lot of horror games definitely fed off of that game then. Or at least the survival horror genre started a lot for him in Amnesia. Felix says, I do find Edge's filter in Photoshop to see the hand line without values. Then you don't get distracted by large shapes of dark making things look smaller.
Clever.
Well, Avenue, I'm thankful you didn't get yourself too hurt, though.
Yeah,
anytime you fall, it's a little scary at first. I've had some pretty bad falls in my life.
Like falling in love.
Oh. Could you?
I don't know. Casper keeps scratching something.
Oh my god, this cat.
I know. I swear, like, when we do streams, they are, like, the most strange.
It's because they're not getting attention right now.
Right?
Casper?
What's he doing?
He's not here. Casper. They both ran off somewhere. I don't know where they went, though.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, they're not up here at the moment. I don't know if they ran downstairs. Oh, these weirdos.
Right.
Jen says if you're into Twin Peaks, you should watch a playthrough of Silent Hills 2. A pretty darn good depressive time.
What's so weird is I've never seen Twin Peaks, and I know it's David Lynch, and I'm sure I would like it, but yeah, I've never actually sat down to watch it. There it is.
What? Where is he?
Is he scratching Deandra's door?
I can't tell.
These cats, I swear, guys.
Oh, Astrid was in the shoe closet again.
No.
How long have you been in here? Astrid, I'm so sorry. How was she? Wait, do you have the shoe closet open?
No.
When did she get in there?
I don't know.
What? Is there a way they're getting in there from the basement? Sorry.
We're having like a straight, yeah, we'll look at it after. But it's funny that it happens like during the stream. It's like,
How
cats,
she
come
is-
on.
I never closed that closet door today. I didn't open it, but she was in the back room this morning.
I don't know.
Astrid somehow got herself stuck in the shoe closet.
I was like, I'm definitely hearing a noise that sounds weird.
I wonder if like Casper pushed the door closed.
I don't know.
Felix says Thief 1 and 2 still slap, and Thief 1 is genuinely terrifying.
Thief?
I don't think I ever played.
I don't even know what that is. Is that a game?
Hang on, I'm Googling. We're Googling.
Googling.
It's a.
What are these weird ass noises happening?
What was that sound? What was that?
What is happening on
Is
this
there a cat in
stream?
here?
Is there?
I don't know. Was that outside? Oh, I think we're talking about all these heebie-jeebie things right now, and I'm getting a little nervous.
I mean, that was strange. There's been like 3 weird noises in a row.
That sounded like a snake.
A snake?
Yeah, like
Sounded like a bird to me.
maybe. I don't know. Oh, Felix, I'm gonna check this game out.
Yeah, Josh loves
it was-
horror games.
Published by Square Enix.
Yeah, they publish a lot though nowadays. They published the Marvel game.
But this was like a 1990s game.
Oh.
Developer was Looking Glass Studio.
Oh, why do I know Looking Glass?
Oh, this looks cool. Oh, it's just one of our neighbors. Okay. Look at this. Sorry, I don't want to distract you. Looks interesting. It's like an older horror game.
I mean, Josh will play pretty much any horror game, so if you say it's a good one, I wouldn't be surprised if Josh tries it out.
Oh. Okay, I remember this now.
Do you?
Well, I've never played it, but I remember seeing this now, yeah. One of our neighbors is like sawing something right now.
So if you hear a little buzzsaw in the background, that's why.
Avenue Teal says spooky. Maybe you all jinxed yourselves by talking about those creepy things. Janisha says spooky noises. I heard that noise.
Right? Okay, it's not just us.
I don't know what that one noise was. That was a little spooky,
See,
but
I'm not crazy.
I think it was just a bird or something. And now our neighbors buzz sawing. Casper, what is it? What's going on out there? Poor Astrid stuck in the shoe closet for God knows how long.
You're right.
It wasn't that long because she was out in the back room before the stream started. How did she get in there? Oh, I think I might have closed it when I came down from the bathroom, maybe. So she must have been in there when I did that. Oops. Oh, Astrid.
Sorry, Astrid.
Poor thing. Stuck in the shoe closet.
Oh gosh, I'm definitely gonna run out of time with this one. I think I was going a little too slow with some of the proportion stuff.
I mean, you were talking a lot there too.
Yeah, I was talking a lot.
Yeah.
I think I get so excited about Climax.
You love that movie. I like, the thing is too, I can't say I didn't like the movie. I thought it actually was, it did a really good job what it was supposed to do, which is why I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
So.
Which I guess is kind of the point. It's supposed to be terrifying. But it's weird because, like, I don't know how scary it would be if I didn't experience tripping before. Because, like, I don't want to spoil too much, but, like, there's one point where the group convinces one of the girl dancers that, like, her life isn't even worth living anymore. And like, sober, you'd be like, oh, well, I would just ignore it, or I would probably cry, I'd run away, I'd do whatever. But when you're on something like a psychedelic, especially acid, I mean, your brain can convince itself of anything, really. I mean, I believed at one point I could mold human skin into like clay, and just, you know, it was very strange. So I could see why her response, the way that she responded to it, was so intense and crazy, because yeah, that's something you could be, and you're very persuadable, or what's that called? Not persuadable. Persuasive is being the persuader.
You're impressionable.
Impressionable.
Let's see. Audrey, well, couldn't do the last two due to an emergency, but it was still fun. I'll see you guys later. Yeah, thanks for joining today, Adria. Vigilante says cats are magicians. Our cat once got out of our apartment and we still have no idea how that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of me still is like, did I close the closet? I have no idea. Something went on. Janisha says, so behind on this hand.
Yeah, this one I'm definitely a little behind on.
Right, you got 3 minutes, 20 seconds. You got this. You got this.
You got this, Tim.
Avenue Teal says, nice, Josh. You staying stuck in the shoe closet got me thinking of the R. Kelly anthology.
Oh, gosh.
Wait, I don't know what that...
So R. Kelly did an entire music video series where it was like Trapped in the Closet Part 1, Part 2, whatever.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Trapped in the Closet. And like South Park did a parody on it. It's very strange. It's a very strange series of music videos. Because like it gets weirdly intense too. He's like, then he pulled out his gun.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to bring that up again.
Yeah.
But Astrid was stuck in the
Trapped in the closet.
Yeah. I'm going to make an anthology about it.
Could be your gay novella.
Oh, my God.
Trapped in the closet.
Specifically the shoe closet, though.
The shoe closet. And you thought Harry Potter had it bad.
Oh, my God. The shoe closet under the stairs.
But actually,
I mean, yeah.
it is the shoe closet under the stairs.
It is.
I guess I never saw it that way. We technically do have a closet under the stairs.
It's kind of in between the stairs because it's like, doesn't go under them.
No, it goes under them.
No, because the one turn of the stairs behind where the closet's at.
Well, I can't think about that right now.
And then the stairs going to the basement are where the stairs going upstairs are below. Stairs going to the basement are below the stairs going up. Like, actually, exactly.
Oh, I guess, like, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Avenue says, honestly, the Weird Al version is much better. Trapped in the drive-thru.
I've never heard that one.
I feel like I have. I don't know if anyone watched VeggieTales ever, but do you remember the cheeseburger song? Kind of loosely based off of it, too.
What?
He goes to the drive-thru and he goes in just at the cutoff when they're selling cheeseburgers, and it's the breakfast time now, so he can't order his cheeseburger he wanted.
What, you mean the
and
other
he sings
one?
this really... No,
like
this
he
is
wanted breakfast.
No, he wanted a cheeseburger.
Why would they switch to breakfast?
His cheeseburger, his lovely cheeseburger. Because I think he went too late, so it was like at the hours when they actually switch to breakfast then.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, Tim, have you ever gone to a 24-hour place? There's a time, like, 4 a.m. is when they cut off the nightly, like, burgers and nuggies.
What is
and
24
it turns to
hours?
breakfast.
Especially if you said he's in a drive-through?
Maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but I'm pretty sure he wanted a cheeseburger. I can't remember the context around it all.
I'm trying to focus on this drawing, but I'm also trying to, like, understand what the heck you're even saying right now.
10 seconds.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know we had a minute left.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. I've been so... oh my gosh.
Sorry, I didn't get any heads up.
There's like questions about the closet and Astrid, the weird noises.
Do you want an extra 5? We can throw 5 in the clock for everyone.
No.
Okay.
Because then that wouldn't be a true 20-minute. We'll actually do a poll if anyone wants another 5 minutes. Or do you want to keep it true to our original 20-minute per hand? As I'm like still working on it.
I was gonna say you're already giving yourself like an extra 7 minutes with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that went through. Okay, there we go.
But you got to answer in the next minute because then we'll just start it up right away if it votes yes. If it votes no, then we're going to close it off, and then I'm going to ask you all to submit to the Discord, and then we'll do a quick recap of everyone's work.
Extra 5 minutes is winning out like crazy already.
Yeah.
5 votes? All right, someone, out of the 5 votes, someone said no.
See?
All right. 4 yeses, 1 no.
Actually, I'll stop working then. I'll see if we get the 5 minutes. Oh my gosh.
I have a new. I used to be so into VeggieTales.
Weirdly, I never watched VeggieTales.
Growing up as a church kid, VeggieTales was like, my entertainment. That's what I had.
I'm trying to think of the most like religious thing that I watched. That was Prince of Egypt.
Oh yeah, that was good.
But actually, I like Prince of Egypt.
Did you ever watch Joseph and the Coat of Many Colors?
Surprisingly, no.
Can we watch that? I actually thought that was a fun. The music in that was really fun.
Yeah.
I actually starred in it.
Oh,
in our
like
church
your play, yeah.
I always got the big roles at our church play.
I love how you said I starred in it, which the implication would be that you starred in the movie, like you're a voice actor.
Oh yeah, no.
You waited for a pause. You waited for that. I did, and then in my play at the church, yeah.
Yes, it was a good time. I also was in our church's production of Leon, and I played the role of Noel, which is Leon's. No, sorry, our church production of Noel, and I played Leon, which is Noel spelled backwards. My name was Leon.
Interesting.
All right. Just a little backstory. All right, ready?
All right, looks like we're going to be doing it.
Yeah,
okay, everyone, pick back up your pencils. The vote has been casted.
And we begin the final 5.
Go.
Closing this poll out. Thank you for the votes.
I also feel like I drew this hand too small, though. I feel like I could have got probably more detail if I went a little bigger. But for a 20-minute study, or originally a 20-minute, you don't want to go too big or else you might be missing out on the amount of detail you can actually put in.
Yeah, Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Honestly, watch this. When you watch this movie, there is a little bit of like this gay undertone to it too, which is funny.
What?
I feel like it was a little flamboyant.
I mean, I've never seen it, so I can't say.
But it was good.
Interesting.
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh yeah, and if anyone's
It's been a
into
while, though, so I don't
Drag
know.
Race, the finale is on Friday. I am shooting for Willow Pill. If I had to pick one out of the 4 or 5.
Who am I? I love Willow, but I'm not gonna pick Willow because you just did now though. So I think I'm gonna vote for
I feel like I know who you're gonna vote for.
Daya.
No. Camden.
Oh, I do really like Lady Camden now, which is weird.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to like her so much, but I think Camden actually I would like to see win.
I mean, same actually.
But I also think Willow does deserve it. I think knowing to her situation.
I just feel like she was always in the top. May not have won that many, but was like always near the top.
Oh, yeah,
if
she was
not
almost-
the top.
I don't think she really was in the bottom.
No, except for
Besides
that
the-
one episode, the last one.
The rule of, what did they call it? Rule of Pooza or whatever?
For Snatch Game.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I do
where
kind
do I
of like
spend my time?
Daya too, even though definitely the villain.
It's just fun having a villain character on the show again.
I do feel bad though, because I think people, because they're on a show, so something that I do think kind of play the villain role just to like, you know, add some variety to the show. But then I think now with social media, they get so much hate that it's hard to actually be that person now in the show.
I mean, getting death threats and all this. I mean, it's
like, guys,
this is why I was talking about earlier. It's like you don't see things that are super authentic anymore. I think it's because people are scared. And sometimes it's for good, because that means like they're scared to be a bad person. So like, not always the worst. But then I don't always feel like you're getting to see the real side of someone because they're like sheltering themselves. Like that's not always my favorite.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think I sometimes get anxious because I think because people aren't allowed to really talk about their bad sides anymore, or things that maybe aren't good. I think I'm anxious about that because I recognize like parts of me that I don't like, but they're there and I can't do anything about them sometimes, but they're there.
Well, I think the big thing is if people are having thoughts that may be like unpopular opinion, if you're not allowed to discuss it with anyone, how is that person supposed to be educated and like grow from it, you know?
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of Willow and Camden's as well. I think those are two of the ones that.
Yeah. I mean, I do like Bosco for different reasons, but
I think Camden specifically did actually grow a lot this season.
Yes.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of how, oh my god, I'm blanking on her name. The one you really loved with the makeup. She did the cool clown makeup.
Oh, Crystal Method.
No, not Crystal Method. Sorry.
Gottmik?
Oh my god, Gottmik. Yeah, I don't know why I blanked her name.
Oh, I always like Gottmik though.
I think though Camden had kind of the growth that Gottmik did as a person during the show. I feel like she came out of her shell a little bit.
Oh, maybe a little bit more, yeah.
All right, 55 seconds.
Oh my god, I feel like I actually somehow made this worse.
Oh no, Tim, you get 5 extra minutes.
I know, and I went to like darken it up, but I actually think it was pretty stable the way it was looking.
Drea says, can I submit even though I missed the last 2? Yes, whatever you have done, you can throw on the Discord.
Yeah, because we're just going to give like a brief look at all of your guys' submissions. Oh boy, yeah, my values are kind of all over the place this one. See, this is an example of like me kind of taking the values on my own, and then I think losing a little bit of that readability.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It done.
It done. It done.
Close out the timer.
Okay. Very, very interesting. It's always funny when I look at the screen, I feel like I can do a better job like laying down my values because I can see it more clearly. All right. Anyways. Yeah, so those were my 5 hands. Once again, I'll submit it and post it to the Discord after the stream's over because I need my phone. Oh, actually, no, my phone's right here.
So yeah, now's the time. Take your pictures, upload them to the stream, follow along channel and Discord. Felix, thank God. God bless Liquify. Unsausaging fingers is way more difficult with pencil.
I mean, facts. What I do think studies can be more beneficial, I know kind of a hot take, but doing them traditionally, I think because you're forcing yourself to see and correct like proportions and anatomy on the go, where obviously with digital, yeah, Liquify just... I definitely think if I was doing these hand studies digital, I would move way faster. Let's see, stream follow along. So let's do a quick screenshot of my own. Whew, how was that for you guys? Does that feel okay? I know sometimes drawing hands can be frustrating. So hopefully this was a good practice, a good way for you guys to see what you feel strong with, what you need to work on still, and then move forward with that.
I'm gonna pull up your Discord for you.
Oh, yes.
And then...
Oh, yeah. By the way, guys, look at this weird plant that we found. So I'm going to plant this. It's Lunaria. This looks like an alien plant. I don't believe that this is real, so I bought it because I want to plant them and test it. But I think these are gorgeous, and I can't wait to see what they turn out to be. Okay. Let me move everything over. We're going to do a quick overview of everyone's submissions, and then we're going to call the stream over.
I just turned off all your notification sounds in Discord. I hate when it does the beeps.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
All right. So, there's that. I'll pull up the Zentique for you.
Okay.
Turn off that. Turn on that.
Beautiful. Move this out of the way. Okay, everyone. Ooh. I just need to see the keyboard.
There you go. Do you want the mouse too? Because you have to drag all the Discord stuff in.
Oh, yeah, actually. Okay. So, let's get it.
Let's get it.
Here's my layers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this much bigger. Oh. What is that noise?
That's a weird bird.
Right?
There's this one bird lately that has been sounding like I'm in a rainforest or something.
We're just hearing like the weirdest noises right now. Okay, I'm resizing it so it fits the screen better.
Gorgeous.
There we go.
Oh, hi. Oh, Astrid, that was the weirdest jump.
Okay, so I'm going to go one at a time in the order that you guys submitted them. So Nyong'o. And I'm so sorry if I mispronounce anyone's name. And I should also note, if you are submitting, if you could just put what you thought worked well, what didn't. I think that helps me kind of clarify what you were trying to work on. Oh, you know what? I have to open them like this. That's right. Oh, no, that worked.
Yeah.
That was it. Oh, wait, right off the gate, love how you handled the form. I think you simplified it in a way that still is very legible. And let me make sure, as I'm reviewing this, you guys can see. There we go. You really did a good job at focusing on all the little nuances where the knuckle makes the skin around it just a little thicker, and the wrinkles feel very well placed. There obviously isn't a lot of value in shading, but to me this was a study, maybe what you were trying to go for was like a study in line art and just proportion, and I think you did a really good job. I can see that you use the blue pencil as like an underdrawing. This is something that, if a lot of you that aren't familiar with this is a really great way to be very more loose and gestural and not worry about the final look of it, because then when you switch to the graphite, the blue lines then act as like a guide or as a foundation to work upon. So this is great. What are you clicking so much?
Oh, I'm just liking everyone's things on Discord.
Oh. Like I see your click, 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 click.
Sorry. Okay.
So yeah, I think this was a really well done job. I think if there's anything I would challenge you next time is, now that you have these pretty good lines, I would love to see some value be placed. And even if it's just like blocking shadows, it doesn't have to be like crazy rendering. Just try blocking shadows, and I think that would be the next step for you, considering your lines feel pretty good already. So yeah, good job.
Oh,
I'm not going to do mine, obviously. Let's see here. So then we got Eric. Let me open. Nope. Don't show again. Thank you, Photoshop. All right, so for yours, you submitted 2 of the hands. So let me pull up the one that you were referencing. Is that the first one? I believe it was. Okay, so for yours, I can still see some. Oh yeah, I guess I should move this over even a bit more.
There's 3 more too by Eric. Let me see.
Well, we're going to do one at a time. So for this one, I can still see some hesitancy with approaching this. And I think a lot of it has to do with you're kind of doing what me and Oscar were talking about, where it's a lot of like chicken scratchy, because you're so focused on like creating the littlest lines to create the form where, and this is why I think this is why next year I want to get more into digital, because I have this weird confidence with digital and like speed that I don't think I quite have traditional. But I mean, there's a lot of things I love about traditional though still. But if I was looking at this, I would definitely be more gestural with the initial shapes, you know? And I think when it comes to yours, I'm seeing a lot of, like if this is the initial kind of phase that I would like you to get at, I think what I see you doing a lot of, oh, am I drawing right on the image? Oh my gosh, hold on. There we go. I can see you doing this, and this is how I like to draw too, which can be bad. It's like a lot of very short, very little movements. And then the problem though is in the end you have proportions that feel a little off. Like this ring finger specifically feels a bit larger than the other fingers, and especially this finger then feels really short because the distance from here to the where the finger begins starts here when it really should be up here. So I think for you I'd focus more on the underdrawing more so than the outline. And trust me, I get it. I'm definitely one that enjoys doing the outline more than the like the shaping and the gesturing. So I want to get right into line art, and so I can get into the values. But I think for you that would really help. And also, I think once you get to this stage, I do think starting to like block out where the shadows will be going, and just do like a light fill in, and especially where like the details of like the vein going up and down the arm, just like filling it out and having some of that shadow form, because I think that'll give the arm more shape as well, because right now obviously without any value it feels very empty, where the last one though had like those little nuance lines. Even though they didn't do value shading, they still kind of gave the illusion of the form, where here I think you just need more of it. And let me look at the other one you submitted here. Okay, so this one I'm seeing a bit more, and I think having that extra time then probably helped you quite a bit. Yeah, this one, actually, look at the difference between these two. I can still see a little bit of the edging that you were talking about, or that I'm seeing with the hand. But on this one, I can see you start to play with those shadow forms, and I like that you're keeping it very consistent. And I would push it even a little further. Let's see here. I like that you're being a little bit more nuanced with like the knuckles, and especially this finger was definitely like the hardest one probably out of the 5, if we're considering a thumb a finger here. And I think from here, just really focusing on the way that the hand turns in, really try to make sure you're following that direction of the reference, because as you can see in the reference, it really is like this triangle in and then out. So I think when you're doing your own, this is a good time. I wish I could do this more with my drawing, where I can like hold the actual sketchbook and take a look at it from like 2 feet or 3 feet away, or even stand up to look at it, because I think it becomes very clear standing up what feels out of proportion. So yeah, I think even that would have helped out. And then when you do the fingers, definitely you did a pretty good job, but keep it on that more curved line and where the fingers begin, so that this line here can feel more angular, because right now it feels too vertical, where this one's still more at an angle as well. But the jump from this one to this one is great. I can just see it continuing to move forward if you kept practicing this, so good job with that. I'm glad that you were able to kind of progress even in that one to the next jump here. Ooh, okay. This one is from Luna. Okay, so Luna Bird. Let's see what these look like. Oh yeah, this is great. I see a lot of confidence with your line, especially the way you do some line weighting. There's a lot of like quick strokes that feel intentional, and I can see that definitely at play here. I'd say the only thing that really stands out to me at first glance is, let me see what the reference looks like. Yeah, so I think when I look at your fingers, I think your fingernails specifically feel the most off, where they feel very square, as you can see here and here. I think when, and it could be because you have nails like that, because unintentionally I think we tend to draw our own features, so our hands are a part of that. So you might have more squared off nails where they're over the actual tip of the finger. But if you look at the reference, it's like right at that line, and they're a bit thicker at the top. So I think thickening up this area and making it a bit more curvy, I think could help. And then same with, let me see what the pencil one looked like. Yeah, so even here, see how your nail is like going like too far over and too much on the side? Like give that finger some area to breathe and make it just a bit thicker. I would say your shadows are actually pretty good for being simplified. Yeah, I would say overall this is pretty good. And I think if you had more time too, I think going through and like just hard edging some of these lines just so it reads better. So even if you're doing like the blue, if you're doing this digital, it's even easier. Like literally creating a nice hard edge, and that will give more of that shape. Because I think even the way that the pencil is in the reference, like the left side is more in the light, you can almost play with this a bit more being digital, and you can kind of play with shadows a lot easier, because then you can just undo if it feels unnatural. But yeah, overall pretty great. Okay, Eric, I'm starting to see your other ones now. Let me pull up one more of yours then, because I know I gave you a lot to chew on there. So I think this one I actually feel was probably challenging for you, because not only are we drawing the hand from the side, but we're also dealing with a little bit of foreshortening and finger bend. And if you look at the way your fingers bend, your pinky will bend inward, and your fingers all kind of point slightly inward when they pull into your palm. And I can see that here was a little bit tough for you. Let me see the reference of this one again. I mean, actually, I do feel like your proportions aren't that far off. I do think like this thumb feels like too straight line here. I remember one of my professors told me the human body has no straight lines, and I think about that when I draw forms, and to always give it just even a little bit of a curve. So even with like the thumb here, just like ever so slightly pull it into that form. And then I think when going into shadows, I know mine probably weren't the best with representing this, and maybe I should have done more of that with the stream, but I would pull more into the darks and challenge yourself to try working with darker pencils just to see how that would work. Because I love the shadows you're trying to create, but it's so light still. But it is consistent, which I like that. I like that it reads very well in the value that you set for the shadows. But I think next would just be going darker and like experimenting, going darker with the values and to see what that looks like. And then just be careful with areas like this, just so that they read clear. I would fill in those shadows a bit more and really try to make it clear, like this is where the light ends, this is where the shadow begins. Like that. So you can kind of see before and, oops, that's right, I'm working with the different shortcuts on this Photoshop. So good job on that. And then, oh, Oscar, you were able to join in. Let me grab a couple of these. So I think with yours, I mean, I can tell pretty quickly right away, the outlining feels very heavy. And I think maybe it was just like trying to figure out where that line is. But then I think this is a good time. Like if you have, what are those? The mono zero erasers, where you can just go in and just fill that back in so that it's not as heavy of a line. Actually, let me do this on a different layer. Woo! There we go. There we go. So it's using your eraser tool as a way to like add to it here. And then the shadows I definitely feel are a little inconsistent. I can see you starting it, but I think it would fill it in even more. So this whole area, definitely I would give a bit more shadow to. And sometimes it's funny how actually filling in shadows, it's like big shapes, can make the readability, so like how legible it reads, the object, it just reads more clear. It's like down here will be in shadow. I remember, I think it was Justin Gerard who was talking to me about like shadows and doing like very minimal amount of work in the shadows, and that he puts most of the detail right where the shadow and the light meet. So for him, it would be like right in this area here, right in this area. That's where he'll put most of the shadow or most of the detail, and then he'll still put a lot of detail in the light, but the shadow he'll keep very matte, and it reads very well because of it. And as you can start to see, we're starting to see more of that light source make sense. I think I need to push it even more though, honestly. It's kind of like a mid-tone as well. Yeah, so I would just keep practicing your shadow placement and maybe try blocking out shadows and then filling them in full. Let me see another one of yours here. Okay, similar with this one. Make a new layer. So I do think the lines are still a bit too thick, and I think this is where literally just taking that eraser and then just kind of taking out the lines that you feel maybe were good for like referencing, but now that you don't need them anymore, I would just take them out completely. Especially if that's where the light source is going to be strongest on the left side. And then in the shadow area, once again, I think I'm going to challenge you to try filling it in more with a matte shadow and see if you like that and if that is like working for you. And then same with on this side. So like here, there's like a few different values in place. I would literally just take it and make it more of a consistent value. Something that also might help you is when you're looking at reference, try like squinting your eyes and try to see the reference in just its like primal values. And it becomes a lot easier then where to place these values in the very like simplified way. And a very dark one on that edge. Like that. So if I turn that layer on and off, you can see as we're starting to get more of that light source then implemented. And I think then really playing into the light source too. So like not having these lines as thick might help read where the light source is coming from then better as well. Like that. So let me see what that looks like. You see what I mean there? So I think that's going to be my challenge for you, is to really try to play with blocking out shadow and see if that helps. But good job. And this is right after your volleyball too, so
it's crazy.
Congrats on making it all the way back home and then jumping right into a stream right away.
Oh, I like the little apple.
Yeah, it's cute. Okay, so I think I'm not going to look at the, I believe the first hand was, oh, this was the first hand. Interesting. Actually, similar to what I was telling Oscar, I see you doing more of like placing shadows, which is great. I think I would just play more with it. So make that shadow more into a shape itself and have them sometimes interconnect and lock. So like add more of that shadow here. Actually, you're doing a pretty good job, though, at least blocking it out. You can see how even that little addition just fills it in more so that you feel the light source coming from the left side. Oops, way too dark. And then be careful when doing the finger wrinkles on the inside. Because when you do it as such a direct line like this, it can look like an actual cut all the way around the finger. So in this case, and make sure you always do 2 lines with that second wrinkle, because there's almost always 2 lines with the first knuckle, and then there's usually 1 on the top. Astrid wants to get back into the shoe closet.
Astrid, why do you... Oh, my God.
What are you doing?
I wonder if she can get the door open.
Oh, that could be the mystery.
Okay,
We'll just wait and see,
Yeah.
And overall, I think your proportions just need a little bit of editing, especially on this one. Because if you look at the reference... Oh, yeah, that was it. You can see how yours is definitely pulling almost like liquefy left, where... Let me grab a color here. Where in the reference, you really do feel that angle, that triangle, and I would pull that more into yours. And I think a lot of this comes back to the original foundation when you're doing the proportioning. Really try to see the original pentagon shape. So in this case, it would be like here, where when I turn that off, you can see how yours is definitely like drooping and kind of pulling to the left. And I definitely think finger ratio is a little off. And something that might help you is, well, what's weird is I see you kind of doing it in places, but like a good example would be in the reference. See how the thumb, I gotta be above it. See how the thumb and the pinky kind of lay on that same line all the way across? Where on yours, the pinky and the thumb, there's like a distance in between that. So whenever I'm doing drawings like this, I always try to do spatial awareness on how things line up with one another. And that's how I can usually draw without having to do too many guidelines underneath, because I'm visually constructing those lines. And they're like invisible, but I'm trying to see them on the paper as I'm working. So yeah, good job, great apple. And thanks for joining. And that was Mikey. Wait, these are Oscars. Who are? Oh, they're both Oscar. I was like, wait a minute, I've done Oscar. Oh yeah, next is Janisha.
Ooh.
Oh, I already know what I'm going to say about these. Great lines. I think you have some good proportioning here. But with your shading, I think you're scared to do some hard edging in that transition between light and shadow. Because everything feels very transitional, but it doesn't read so much as a shadow like I think it should. So... that scratching noise? What is going on?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Okay. So for your second hand, for example, kind of like what you were saying before, where I think literally blocking out... Let me pull this above here. Yeah, blocking out this area and really committing to it being dark. Little pocket where the light kind of is seen. Because I can tell you're not afraid to go dark necessarily, because your lines have definitely some darkness to them. But I can tell there's just a little bit of a hesitancy to like really push that value. Even like under this finger, this should be definitely darker. And I think when you get into the detailing, like really play with, you can see how that wrinkle that overlaps that ring finger, it is definitely a contrasted area. And I would play into that because it's such a nice contrast, and it really showcases the skin folding over the finger. Oh, by the way, if we're getting any comments or questions, yeah, Josh, please interrupt.
Oh, no, we are good. We are good.
And I think in cases with like this finger specifically, you can see in the reference, it is pretty much a straight on middle finger shot. So I think having this be more of a straight line, you know, with like the little nuances, but I think you did so much nuances that it reads more loopy or more stylized. So I think in this case, actually first let me show you what this looks like on and off. You can see how just adding a little bit more density to the shadow can really help it read where the light direction is coming from. And then the second thing I'm going to do is do a quick liquefy pass to kind of show you that finger here. Let's see if I can hone in my old school liquefy skills here. And obviously you're working traditional, so this is something that is not as easy to do. Trust me, I feel it. I'm a traditional artist, so it's a constant pain to have to like rework it and then erase and then rework. So I get it. But I'm just going to show you that at least the difference before and after. And then same with like this palm going more in. Alright, so you do okay. So you can see how that finger looks less loopy when it's more of that straight line. And in a way it helps with the realism aspect of the proportioning as well. You're not that far off though, so I don't want it to seem like you're so far off. You're really close. It's just like those little proportion moves that can help. So yeah, overall though, good job. And I think just committing to playing with the shadow shaping and then trying to edge it out a bit more. So like play with the shadow edges. Because at this point, if then you want to do like a fun transition, then you can. But I think at least first playing with it, like even this area here, I don't think there necessarily should be that much of a shadow because this is more in light. If you were trying to do more of like the arm hair and that kind of detail, I would save that for like very, 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 very last. And same with like any type of freckle or, you know, those final details. Save that for the very end. Okay, good job. I feel like I know I'm very wordy when I give critique because I just want to make sure it feels like I'm saying everything I want to. Okay, Jasmine_Shrek. I like the first and third reference you did. Actually, the third one I think is your strongest. So I'm going to pull that one in first just to show everyone who's watching. So I think this one did a really good job at like creating the values and the proportion. But I saw the other one, and maybe you're already thinking, yeah, I know that could be fixed. But this one to me feels the most like it could use some help. So when I'm looking at the reference too, this one was tricky. And I think it's because the sizing was different. But I think for yours, the thumb, I think, stands out as just feeling squished. And I think a lot of it has to do with, you originally had it. I can see the lines in the paper that you erased. And I actually think those were more correct than the final result. I think, though, these two fingers were also a little squished, and you're trying to create that space in the reference. So you took out this line. But in doing so, you kind of squished the whole hand a little shorter than it should be. And let me show you this. So if I look at a layover, and this is like another nice thing about Photoshop or like working digitally, is you can just do something like this and just see the difference. So you can see how the fingers you kind of squished down and then everything looked a little thicker than it should be. And that's okay. I think a couple of mine were just a little squished as well. I think a lot of it has to do with the initial laying down of the foundation and really making sure that the spacing between everything feels accurate. Yeah, because those fingers should have been higher up. But I think it was because you were trying to create that gap between the two up fingers and the thumb that's why everything looks squished. So overall, though, I can see the way that you do your shadow play. There's definitely a confidence in creating proportion. So keep doing it. And I really liked what I saw.
Dynasty says, thank you for the critique. And that was Luna. And then Janisha says, thank you. I definitely want to improve more in my values.
Yeah. And I definitely think you can. You're like right on track. Okay. And this is, I believe, Felix. Yes.
Felix.
Comparing them, my first hand is definitely the worst, and I got better proportions. I tried to progressively get done quicker with proportions, get better values. Liquify did help, though, so I want to go back traditional for the next one. Yeah, like initially I can definitely see the advantages of using digital here, because look how gorgeous, what one is it? This hand is. I think this one, well, actually, yeah, these three I think work definitely better than the first, but there was a time limit thing there. And yeah, the proportions, obviously, I think you already know. This feels too stretched, where I think it definitely needs to come squished. Kind of like the last one, just pull more of that, squish it down. And here, I think I like that you played with the lighting against a darker backdrop. I think it really shows the direction of the light source really well. Yeah, overall, I actually think these are pretty great. I do think proportions, especially with doing it digitally, I like want to critique harder because I expect it to be more in proportion because it's digital. But I actually do think you did a pretty good job of that. What does the reference for this hand look like? Yeah, I guess even here, I would just do like another layer over it. And even if you do like a soft multiply layer, just like push this even darker. Because I can see you doing it with the second hand and the last hand. I don't know why. Maybe this one you were experimenting with like lighter tones, but I definitely think going darker with the tones here as well could help. And actually, this is a good example where I think even having a lighter background then, I guess I can't do it on this one. Maybe playing with like the background values could have helped, because then I think seeing the shadow could have really popped. But this is more of like a personal preference of working with the values that you have within the scene. So maybe play with value working in not only the subject matter itself, but then in the backdrop. You can see how like even pulling a lighter value here really makes that hand stand out. And you could do like a cool little glow coming from behind it. Because I wish I had your layer so I don't have to do this individually. But yeah, I would try doing some of that too with experimentation. Overall though, great job, Felix. It's always good to see what you create, because I think you're exploring like more intermediate advanced techniques, which is always fun for me to see. Okay.
Felix says with the third one I had to redo the thumb because it looks so weird, and then I only did like one medium value shadow pass.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, obviously with the time limit too, it's like we're trying to make choices quickly. Drea, good to be back even though I missed the last few. Always had to rush the shading at the end so it's blocky. You know, I don't mind block shading actually that much. If anything, I would just fill in. Oop. Oh gosh, where did it go? Oh, there.
Oh.
I would even just fill in your light areas. I know it looks like you're using a chalk brush, but I think just filling it in completely. Or this might be something where you draw over the liner even, because I can see a lot of strength in your values. I think actually your line work though feels a little choppy to me in areas, especially like down here. And obviously that was the first hand, so that one's a little more rough. But I think you could have more strength in your pieces by having, I think by literally just painting over the liner, or maybe even just turning the liner layer off at the very end. Because I do see a lot of cool work with it. Oh, and also now I'm looking at them, I think your fingers are also just a little too long, just in relation to the palm size. Let me see what the reference for this one looks like specifically. Yeah, like I wish my fingers were super cool and long, like Digimon fingers, but they're pretty standard size length. And I think this is another example of using the reference as like a proportion. So you can kind of see if you go straight down with the pointer finger, there's about that much of a gap. And then looking at yours, when I go straight down, it's close, but it's just a little too long. And I think especially the direction of the finger, when you look at, actually I'm going to do just a bunch of these type of like measurements. So you can see that top of the knuckle. You can see how it's close, but because everything's so stretched, it's hitting similar proportions, but it's so stretched that overall though it's still feeling too long. And I think a lot of that will come down to really looking at the gaps between subject matter areas. So like if you look at the triangle here that we created in the reference, can you see the reference pretty okay? Oh, no you can't. Like there. See that dip? And then if you look at yours, see how much taller it is? And I think just all these little nuances where everything just feels a little long or slightly pulled out, they add up, and then the whole picture then starts to look a little strange, even though it's pretty close to being in proportion. So I would say that would be like my one challenge to you is like keep testing yourself throughout. Like even the pinky line, it's pretty flat, where on yours, see how it's just going up way too much? it's little changes, but I think it will make a big difference in your work just by affecting those little changes. So overall, good job. Okay, we got 2 left.
Ooh.
We got Barbara.
I like the color of that paper. Looks like
Like
slightly
an old
yellow.
vintage paper.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, this is nice. Oh my gosh, I have so many layers where it's just like random drawing stuff. Let me turn these off. There we go. Yeah, first glance, I really like these. I think there's a personality in the way that you kind of shade. Definitely reads to me that you kind of have a style already, especially with this one. I think this one's the strongest out of all of them. And I like that you even did a little shading on the nail. I feel like that's definitely a sore spot for a lot of people, where drawing the nail sometimes will just immediately make it look like nail polish or too thick of an edge around it. So I like that you did a little subtle shading on it. And I love like this area here. I think you did a great job capturing that where light meets shadow, but then it kind of fades into the rest. Yeah, like down here, I think this is excellent. I definitely think midtones are for sure your strong suit. I don't see a lot of super dark areas, but I do the same thing where I don't go super dark often. I would say maybe the only thing now I'm looking at, these fingers just feel a little long, but let me look at the reference. Sometimes I think something might look a little long, but then I look at the reference, I'm like, well, yeah, actually, that's pretty close. They still feel just a tad long to me. Let me see.
I say your fingers are pretty long in that photo.
All right, got some extension going on.
Well, you pushed the middle finger kind of down too, right? So that's why it...
Let me try to line it up. I'll line it up with the thumb.
Oh, actually, look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Actually pretty...
That is very close.
Let me turn this all the way up. Yeah, pretty close. If anything, maybe that's what I was seeing. The wrist feels too small. So I think because the wrist was smaller, everything else felt longer. Let me look at that at 100 again. Yeah, see how my wrist is just a bit thicker? Yeah, so just that little space. But overall, this is like nitpicking. I think because these come across as so good, I'm like looking at, okay, like what can we help here? Oh, you know what? Actually, hand 1, well, maybe you didn't have time. I can already tell the shadow down here, but it looks like you just didn't have time on that one.
Yeah, that 15 minutes was probably not enough.
Yeah, overall, I think these are pretty great. Yeah, I think maybe if you want to start exploring like the area around the hand, but that's even more of like a personal choice. No, I think these are great. I think you did a really good job, and especially for these 20-minute studies. Oh, you know what? Maybe like this line here. I don't see a lot of this from you. I feel like you do come across very confident in your line weighting. But this line specifically here feels chicken scratchy, where it's like a little blocky. And if by the end, if you have extra time, literally just taking an eraser tool and like cleaning up that line, I think we'll just read better. Because right now that does feel a little loose. But overall, these are great. Good job. Good job, Barbara.
Alex, is this Drea? I think that's Drea. So probably I like long fingers.
Yes,
yeah.
That was Drea with long fingers.
And then EJ Dare says, thank you so much for the feedback. I always struggle with proportions, finger length, and palm size. Maybe because my own hands are small, with short fingers and relative large palm.
I didn't realize at first. I know you. I follow you on Instagram. You are the Barbara that does all the pencil stuff that was working on the snow character. You're very good at drawing. So I think, to me, yeah, this is very clear that you have a very consistent style. Oh, this makes way more sense now. Yeah, I love it. I think you did a great job with the studies.
I love your paper.
And Josh loves your paper.
It's like archaeology dig site. Like where they draw up the stuff they find. That's what the paper reminds me of.
Okay, and then last but not least, we have Corinna. So I'll do these 3 really quick. Obviously, with the first one, I think everyone just did not have enough time, and that was more of a warm-up, so I'm not going to focus on that one. So instead, let me look at... I do feel like you're doing a good job at capturing, like, I love that you almost, like, over-exaggerated this triangle. I think you have kind of the opposite effect that most people have where they don't exaggerate enough. I actually think you're pushing a little too much, and it's, like, reining it in. So in this case... I love that you did that triangle, but instead of it being that far out, maybe just move it to like here. And that little subtle shift, I think, will make a great difference in the end result. But I kind of like how stylized this hand is. You almost have this purposely pushing realism, and I kind of like that too. And let me pull up your other two as well. Yeah, I think your finger like lengths and widths are a little strange, and I definitely see a little bit of that wonkiness. Let me pull up that hand. I believe that was 4. Yes. So I like that you're capturing the nuance, but once again, I think you're exaggerating just a bit too much. Let me pull up. Let me draw over this really quick. So I think in your case, all it would take is just pushing back a little bit. Like, I love that you're capturing that knuckle, but then when you go in, yeah, there's a little nuance going within there. And then, like, the angle of the arm is more down. So let me show you, like, what literally little changes will do to the end result. Do you kind of see that? So I'm pushing a little bit more straighter lines, and you could still play with, like, the little nuances in here, because I actually did, like, a little bit of jumps, even with like the knuckle here. But then even like up here with this part of the hand, I think you went too far in with that secondary knuckle, like that. So if you look at, hoping you guys can see this. Let me zoom in, actually. So if you look at the way it was before and then after, it's just like little changes just make it feel like it has more form and more of that realistic look to a hand. And it's strange because I feel like I'm so often doing the opposite when I'm critiquing people. It's like they don't exaggerate enough, or they're not like pushing the nuances enough. So it's strange that you're actually pushing a little too much, which is great because I think toning it back is easier than like stepping it up. And I do see it a little bit with the final hand as well. Let me see the reference here. And I think this comes down to when you're doing wrinkles, just be careful of doing such harsh lines. I think instead, like, this is a good example of the line here. This is starting to make it look more like a butt crack almost. I think pulling that same value up so it's not as harsh of a line anymore kind of gives the illusion of the form wrapping around. And even with your shadow, like pushing a more consistent value everywhere. And this could have also been a time thing, but just something to keep in mind for the next time you do a study like this. Yeah, really try to block out your shadows more. Like that. You can kind of see the difference. See how there's more of like a sense of a light source going on here too. But overall, pretty great. And thank you for submitting. All right, I think that's everyone. And just before 3. Perfect. Okay, so if you're one of my Patreon backers, I will create a link on the other Discord where you can submit your, or another channel where you can submit your work. And then we'll probably be doing, I don't know how many we're going to do. It'll depend on how many submissions we get. But if you want to come and watch a live critique, I always felt like I could learn a lot from watching critique streams, even if it wasn't my work being worked on. So if you want to come and learn, hopefully, something in the process, that is what our plan will be next week. And then the week after, we'll have fun and we'll do another kind of fun
chill
stream.
out.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming to this live stream today. Hopefully you guys had fun drawing some hands. Hopefully you learned some things, and I hope to see you guys draw more hands in the future.
Yeah.
Josh, any last minute word?
No, everyone did a really good job. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Thank you for those that came and just hung out with us. And we will see you next week.
Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone.
Love you
Bye,
all.
bye, bye.
Mwah.
Let me find the... There we go.
There it is.
Bye, 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 bye.